this session, podcast night is finally here, and as a forever DM, I can't wait to talk about how to be a better DM all night. Wait, do you hear that? It can't be! No! It's Players Night! Join our adventure party as we delve into the social and cultural aspects of our favorite game, all while enlightening our taste buds with a random craft beer. So crack open your favorite Bardic inspiration and roll initiative with us of Dice and Brews.
Okay, so I need some help because my adventuring party that I DM for,
Like other than mental help?
I don't think you guys can help me with that. I need professionals for that.
Well,
I do
the
have
forever
them.
DM.
Ben played one in a campaign.
Forever DM?
No,
Professional.
a professional.
Okay, so in my homebrew world, there was this like archlich thousands of years ago who found like this well of magic, and he built this tower that was basically like the corpses. It was like a sentient tower that like fed off the corpses of all these things. So he was like a necromantic archlich kind of thing.
Yeah, undead kind of goes with undead.
Well, yeah, it kind of does, right?
Yeah, the lich part.
So anyway, there was a group of people that obviously opposed him and had some help from like deities, and they defeated him. But in the process, they like basically nuked the tower, and it created this who knows how deep gash in the ground that's called the Silent Sliver, right? And so
Is there doo-doo in there?
and so like, but this is like a huge like chasm, right? It's probably like a quarter mile
Is it like
wide.
when the shooting star fell and eviscerated the chapel and Tristram kind of thing, leading to like the hells?
Yeah, kind of, or like a lot. But like anyway, it's huge. It's not a crater. It's like a rip in the ground itself. Anyway, it's called the Silent Sliver because you can't hear anything. No magic can be cast around it or in it. And I've got this group of like an order of knights that are like way higher power than the party, right? And they're fighting these cultists, and I call them the Knights of the Valorant. They're these
Veil bards,
dragonborn like paladins and whatnot. Anyway, so the adventure party walks in and they witness this battle going on, and it's like clearly like way outside of their league. So they just kind of have to stand back and just watch this thing happen. Well,
we're jumping in.
Well, these dragonborn paladins and clerics are just like deity level powerful. So they defeat the cultists, but one of them to defeat the cultists grabs one of the cultists, like the leader cultist, and like jumps into the Silent Sliver with it, right? And then the other three show up to the edge, and they're looking into the Silent Sliver. They're having like this conversation of like, what do we do? How can we, take this? And they go, well, we got to go after him. He's part of the party. So they just jump into the Silent Sliver too. So I give my guys like, I'm just trying to like set this up as like, hey, there's this bigger thing going on that you guys aren't ready for, but this is also going on kind of thing.
They jumped right into that shit, huh?
They did.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, motherfucking heroes. I told them like, one of the characters really wanted to jump in, and the other guys were like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. So he goes to jump in anyway, and the other one goes to grab him, and he grabs him. They do like this opposing strength check thing to see if he can pull him back out and all that stuff, and he slips and he falls and he goes in. And so the other two are sitting
there having the same conversation. Well, it's part of the party, right?
Well, they're like, basically like, let's do this. So they jump in, and that's where I ended the session. And they're like, so what happened? And I'm like, roll a new character, is what I said. Because I was like, I don't know how what's going to happen. Like, am I going to...
I feel like you just have to come up with a whole new campaign now.
Well,
like they just turned your shit upside down on its head.
Did you have an idea what was down at the bottom of this?
There isn't a bottom.
There isn't a bottom.
DD level shit.
All right. Well, now there has to be.
Well, see, and that's what I'm wondering is
Maybe it didn't. It's not like a clean cut through, and they come to a ledge that leads to a cavern system or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking.
The only thing you got to figure out how they survive the fall,
or to have like
they turn into goldfish.
Yeah. Or have the something about the Knights of the Valorant like notice them coming and like do something about it or whatever. I don't know. But the other thing that I thought would be cool, and I'm just bouncing this off you guys because I'm like seriously lost. This just happened Wednesday.
What level are they?
They're level 4.
Fuck, that might be a little too soon for a planar.
But
planar shifts.
You can totally
and shit.
like spin this into the Underdark.
I was thinking that, but the other thing that I was thinking is, what if it was like, okay, yeah, everybody roll up new characters. You have no clue what's going to happen with those characters, and then those characters come back as squires of the Knights of the Valorant later on in the campaign. Don't know.
If those players are invested in those characters, just kill them off because you don't have what's on the other side of the cliff.
Yeah.
See, but to me, like that's exciting because you get an opportunity to like go to a whole new world. But you know what I mean? Like I would totally like to me, Out of the Abyss just sticks in my head at like the beginning of that book. How like maybe they don't remember the fall, and maybe they end up somewhere and they're prisoners. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
like
you
that.
have this whole like them trying to escape this prison, and they meet a couple of NPCs, and maybe one of the Knights of the Valorant are there, and he has amnesia, and they're like, "Hey man, we witnessed you do this thing." He's like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about," and they have to like trip him into this whole like, dude, there's your fucking story right there.
You just did it.
Do you know? Also, you can go Astral Sea.
Yeah, I was thinking
that would cover
You
the
can
fall.
kind of combine the two
but
That would
together.
cover the
like,
fall
here's-
because once you hit the Astral Sea, there is no up, down, left, right. It's you could think direction and you just go the direction.
here's kind of
And there's a shit ton of stuff in the Astral Sea.
All the little fishes in.
here's
deep
kind
blue
of
sea.
my issue is that as soon as I said roll new characters, they were like, oh, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and this, and it was like, so you guys really don't care about these characters.
Then talk to them.
make them care. Invest in them.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm trying.
Here's the thing, though, man. Like, I think that you should. If I was doing that, I would go with the whole. It doesn't really matter like the setting of where you put it. Like, you could put it in the Astral Sea, but I think the whole campaign becomes around reuniting the Knights of the Valorant together again. You know what I mean? Like, if you have one of them with amnesia and they're in this like POW camp, and he doesn't know anything, and they're the only ones that last witnessed this epic battle, and then you got to find. It's like finding keys or something like that, but now you got to find the four members of the group, so they travel this other planar dimension or whatever it is, trying to unite the members again, and then only then can they like get out of there. You know what I mean? Or like return, or even close the Sliver of Silence. That's
Somehow
that's
solve a millennia-old problem.
and then fight. Maybe the cultist is like the lead cultist was like the reborn or the rebirth of the Archlich in the first place. So now they have to fight him at the end of it.
Yeah.
That just sounds really cool, man.
Yeah, you got a million avenues to go with.
I knew I did. I wanted to like bounce them off somebody because it's one of those things where
lead them right into
they can go so many
the
different
nine
directions.
hells.
You can have that paladin become like a pacifist monk now, to where like he's like all invested in his chi, and he has like no desire to fight or whatever. Even have it like a year later, to where like nobody remembers anything. You know what I mean? They just wake up in this like infirmary kind of thing out of their comas, and then they're like prisoners of the PNW or PNW like ANW, prisoners of this like a Drow war camp or Gith war camp or Mind Flare war camp or something like that. And even boost them up a couple levels.
Yeah.
Make it more interesting.
Something that'd be kind of intriguing, I think, like whatever setting you can want to take them to, Underdark, Hells, Astral Sea, whatever, doesn't matter. But wherever they are, they start that, their probably main thing is probably to hunt down the Knights of the Valorant. Valorant or Valor?
Valorant.
Then they hunt.
Apparently it's a video game, like a mob shooter or something.
I've never heard of it.
And I thought it was a cool name, and I was like, I'm going to add that to my thing. Joys of homebrewing.
But they're trying to track these guys down, and maybe time has elongated during the fall, and the knights are already here and they lost, and now they're part of the bad guys. They've been taken over. So as your party is hunting down each one, and maybe they run into one, and they're like, oh, we found one of the guys, and he leads them along or something, and betrayal.
I think that would be cool to have one of them like that, to where you
one of them.
Yeah,
or
Judas
you set this whole
character.
you set this whole mission up, and then maybe like the last one is like the guy that like turncoated.
Yeah.
But he was the first one to jump down the hole.
That's a great avenue for, like, they're on the hunt. They could be on the hunt for these guys, and they get betrayed by their own quarry.
Or even the guy that finds his memory. Like, maybe, like, I know I'm spinning this memory thing, but I think that's really cool. But, like, as soon as, like, you start to find his buddies, and even he doesn't recognize his buddies or anything, but he still goes along on his mission. And then when you get to the fourth one, and you guys finally reunite the four, is there 4 or 5?
There's currently 4, but I mean, they're like, there's...
Right, so, I mean, you reunite the 4 guys
You gave
together.
me 6 Dragonborn Night minis, so that's what I'm going with.
You reunite these 4 guys together, and then all of a sudden his memory comes back, and then he's like, no, I was actually a double crosser the whole fucking time, and this is my plan.
The one that tackled the dude off the edge, he was the one. That was his whole plan, to get down there anyways, and him tackling the dude was his guys.
Subterfuge,
Yeah, he's like, that's my way down to where the rest of the guys don't know I'm betraying them, but I'm really trying to get down there. Yeah, you got tons of avenues.
Yeah, there's a lot to go on there.
Lots of avenues to go.
Okay. Yeah, no, I knew there was. I just wanted to kind of like...
I'll DM it. You can
I
play
kind
one
of
of
like.
the nights.
I do like the betrayal idea.
Yeah.
I like the betrayal idea. I like the amnesia idea. I like
you could
the
mix it all
uniting
together.
the 4
One of the guys could be the
Dragonborn
amnesia
paladins.
dude. One of them could be the betrayer.
I think you need 5 though, and make them. They're metallic, aren't they?
Yeah, that was kind of the point. So like really what it was is Power Rangers is kind of where I got the idea.
Absolutely.
Is, we've got 5 types of Dragonborn, but then I was going to have the White Ranger and Green Ranger for those that know. He originally was green. He was green, not white.
You're not spoiling anything. It's like 30 years ago.
Whatever. Anyway, but having like the leader of the order almost being like an aspect of Bahamut, so he's a platinum Dragonborn. I don't know what that means yet, but it's homebrew. I can do whatever I want.
It up.
Exactly.
This is a singing episode.
But yeah, that was kind of my thought is like having one of them. Like what's been fun is like while I'm painting the miniatures,
Creating the story.
is creating the story, and that's
The
what's
best part about everything. I was painting some snowy trees today, and every happy little tree had a story.
Oh, yeah?
got
That's how it goes, man.
old
That's awesome.
Bob Ross over here.
Happy little trees. They got squirrels in them. And
Nope, no squirrels.
No,
It's
they're not
it's
that happy
it's
yet.
this
no
place
little,
where
no little
it's like,
devils.
it's this place where it's like super cold. So
Yeah.
squirrels aren't really hanging out.
No, but Chewingas are, right?
Chewingas are hanging
Yeah.
out.
Oh, the Chewingas.
The Chewingas are hanging out.
What is the name of that campaign?
I was trying to get him to say it without saying that.
I think you guys say it more than I do.
I think we allude to it more than we
Oh, yeah.
you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, man, like, so the sun has been out the last couple of days.
Oh,
I
tell me
don't know
about
about you guys, but I just feel this like sense of refreshment.
Where's the barbecue?
Man, I don't know, but we should have done that tonight. We
Ooh.
should have done that.
Hey,
But
you know what, though? This is the start, so we have
this
mini
is
sunny.
the start. But yeah, I don't know. The sun is out, and I was like listening to music that wasn't just like instrumental.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fun. And to me, like, there's nothing more relaxing on a summer's day than listening to punk bands cover 80s rock songs.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Okay, so on that
Like who?
note, they're Reliant K, which isn't really a punk band.
It's like, so like not even just punk bands, emo slash
Okay.
alternative.
well, the pop goes punk,
Yeah,
or the
all-
or
the
punk
whole, like,
goes
the-
pop
yeah.
albums. Yeah, no, there's a I'm gonna have to find it. So talk amongst yourselves. But Reliant K does a cover of "Let It Go," which is really good.
Yeah, I've seen that one. And then I was listening to what the hell was it? It's I See Stars Does Your Love from the Outfield. And has,
Oh, yeah.
that's one of my favorite songs to begin with. From like just the Outfield singing, it's a really good song.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't Reliant K. It was Newfound Glory,
Yeah, I think
which
yeah.
did the.
They do a lot of those. They're like featured on like every one of those albums, it seems like.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But yeah, like, so there's nothing better in my mind than like
This Is
pumping up-
Me.
I don't even know who that is, but pumping up
It's
the
like
punk
Tori
goes
Amos.
pop
Yeah.
music. And then there's a More Than a Feeling one, which is originally by Boston, but I forget who does that one too. But it's just so good.
They got the
so
power.
good.
Get the
Power of Your
vibes
Love.
going.
Yeah, and then
which is a great one.
when they do the R&B songs too, like there's a punk rendition of the Umbrella song that's really good.
Yeah.
And the Stitches song, so good.
There's one out there too of Red Red Wine
Yeah,
by UB40,
I've seen that one,
which
yeah.
is good. But that on that same album, they also have Eye of the Tiger,
Yeah.
which is cool. But yeah, or I don't know about you guys, but it gets me thinking Sun's Out is time to go back to the high school playlist. I don't know why, but there's something like really nostalgic about re-listening to the stuff that I listened to when I was in high
I
school.
don't know if I ever leave the high school playlist though, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Like it's
Yeah.
always mixed in.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I find myself, spending a lot of time with podcasts, books on tape, and then also like a lot of like jazz lately or R&B and stuff.
I can see that though, because ever since we picked up this podcast and stuff like that, all I've been doing is like listening to instrumentals.
Yeah.
So like that's what I feel like I'm looking for those instrumentals to do like battle music for, or hey, if we do a side quest video or something like that, what other music can I use? Or
See, I just don't do. I don't think I've listened to music in probably over a year. Like just like sat down and enjoyed and listened to it.
Okay.
it's mostly driving. Like to be honest with you.
See, I drive and I audiobook.
Well, and the most of the time that I do listen to music is with my record collection, and I let my future brother-in-law borrow my turntable to listen to an album.
Oh,
No.
Oh.
It's fine. I know exactly where it is. And
I know who you are, where you live.
I've
he
got a
doesn't-
particular set of skills.
he doesn't need it right now, but like where I live currently, the apartment that I live in, like there's not a ton of space, and I had it all set up to where like you got the turntable and the speakers, and you just plug it in and come home. And
You got your comfy recliner
I don't have
and
the
your loafers.
I do have my loafers.
Do you get the
robe?
Yeah,
Get the robe
I
out?
don't have a robe, so
The
I
silver
just
You
pajamas.
need one.
I think loafers and
And
the
your pipe?
birthday suit is the best way to listen to. Anyway,
that was a picture I didn't need.
yeah, you don't have your mind does not have to go there.
You said it.
Yeah,
And you know, it's one of those things.
Draw the conclusion.
As
Yeah.
you're talking, you're like, I'm engaged and I'm listening, and I'm like, oh yeah,
And
penny
then-
loafers and oh,
Get
fuck.
away, get away.
God damn it, you said that.
Squirrels in snowy trees. Squirrels in snowy trees.
Anyway,
There's a happy place. There's a
no, but I've been
place.
listening to like there's a Toto album. I can't remember the name of it, but you know that song Africa by Toto?
Yeah.
Okay, that song is a guilty pleasure of mine.
Oh yeah.
It's such a good
The
song.
best part about it is like listening to how many renditions like other people do.
Oh,
So you can have like a whole Spotify list of
just
Africa.
Just Africa.
Yeah.
by
Same
Toto.
song on repeat,
So
but
good.
it's
Well,
not.
There's Call on Me is the same kind of way. But anyway, that album, and that's what I kind of like about vinyl is you have to kind of just like listen through the whole album. You can't be impatient. That album has such good music on it. And
And
it's
Toto's a one-hit wonder.
and it is. It's like, wait a minute, like this is actually good stuff.
It's like Sweet. Like Sweet's known for like Ballroom Blitz.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
the whole album, like if you listen to the greatest hits, you're like,
It's
damn,
a
they had a
bop.
lot of songs that were really fantastic.
or like or then you go the other way where you've got like Boston, where really the first album is their greatest hits.
Yeah, true.
They like anything
It's like the first
after,
5 songs in Synchronicity. what do they have after this?
Is there any point to listen to anything else? Not really.
Did they just repackage the first album as the greatest hit? Yeah, music. Oh, so good, so good.
But when the sun's out, that's what I
Yeah,
I
just feel like
definitely
it's
music time.
Yeah, it's time to like roll down the windows, let your hair hang down. What left of it I have.
yeah.
And,
Half
All of
your
it's
head.
on our chins now, not on the top of
It
our
fell
heads.
down.
It fell down. My balls dropped.
I know somebody at work was like, why, I used to keep my head shaved and then I'm starting to grow it out. And somebody at work was like, why are you growing your hair out? And I was like, well, I was looking in the mirror and it's like looking at my hair through an x-ray. Like I could see my skull. I'm like, I got one last hoorah with hair before I'm going to
So you're just gonna like grow it out?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm just letting it go. I don't know where I'm going to
It's
go
like
with
a
it.
Michael J. Fox Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
You do have a little bit of a Teen Wolf thing going on right now.
Oh, the fucking beard. And
He's like
long
middle-aged
hair, yeah.
wolf.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny. 'cause
Twilight 10 years later.
I don't think those guys are even capable of growing hair on their chins.
I don't think they are either. But
If they do, they step out into the sunlight and they're like, diamond shave.
No, it reminds me because I go back and I listen to our podcast a couple times to see, constant improvement. And there's a part in the third
then
episode.
he sends me a one doc of like, here's all the things you did wrong.
I haven't done that yet. No, but
I'm still building that.
There's a part in the third episode, which at the time of us recording this just came out last week. And we're having like this pretty in-depth conversation about like, does party size matter or something like that. And, you and I are talking and I thought you were involved and you're like, you know what I just realized?
The ZZ Top comment?
We all are like the young ZZ Top.
Oh yeah,
We got these really long beards.
Dude,
And it's
I
like-
listen to conversations sometimes and I'm like listening, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. But something just, it's like a spark in my head of something funny.
John, let's be honest. We had too much Bardic inspiration.
We did it.
Oh yeah, no, that one,
That
yes,
was
for
when
sure.
we did the double episode. Don't do a double episode.
Yeah.
Do the double episode.
No, one at a time.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, I was
Especially, I think one of them was a 9%er. Oh Jesus.
yeah, I think one of them wasn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember which one, but I think one of them was a 9%er.
Oh,
and that was-
actually, no. So first episode was the English old ale that you guys didn't like, and then
no.
we liked it. He
Yeah.
didn't. And then the second one we did the fishtail ales, the IPA.
IPA.
And then the third one we did
Sweet
sweet
as.
as, and none of those were super heavy.
I thought the first one was a 9%.
I don't
It was.
remember.
Anyway, but the first one we didn't.
So
we
many
did
brain
that-
cells dead.
We
Yep.
didn't do that one together. We did the
No, we
sweet
did
as
the sweet as
and
and the IPA.
But I also think there was some proper 12 that snuck in there too, or some truly.
Ah,
That
that's
might have
what
been
it was.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
it is. Sometimes you just gotta chase those stouts with whiskeys. I think.
yeah. So
Speaking of which, what you got?
Oh, hold on. So I texted you guys the other night, like fucking 4 a.m. or some shit, about
I don't know that I even saw it.
the movie Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
You guys-
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
It's brand new. You'd have to pay to.
I rented it and I started to watch it and I was like,
It's so fun. It's not. It's a typical Mila Jovovich movie.
So
That's how you
it's-
pronounce
say
it?
that again.
Mila Jovovich. But
Jehovah Mamu.
it's fun to watch. Story's not captivating. It's
That's what I was gonna say.
There's
It's
not
one
a
of
lot
those
of-
ones that
there's
are
not a
cool
lot of
looking. but-
talking in it.
See how I picture it's like the Fifth Element.
Okay,
Like,
but that's
Well,
actually
yeah,
a really
the Fifth
good
Element
movie.
was like an
no,
intricate
it is.
story.
It's amazing, and I love it. The Fifth Element's like one of my all-time favorite movies, but it's not like a great. You wouldn't call it a great movie.
I would call it a great movie.
I disagree. You need to go back and watch if you haven't seen that in a while.
I probably watch it once a year,
Okay, well,
religiously.
This next time that
that's
you
so
watch
good.
it, you need to watch it and think of like that is a very intricate story.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts in
And
there.
it could have been it's like one of those times where you see a trilogy come out and you're like, why wasn't this just one movie? They
And this
actually
one's like,
should have
why
been a
wasn't this
it's a trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Or I want to see what
But
happens
anyways,
next.
to
Yeah.
the point though, Monster Hunter is it was a fun movie. Especially I was talking to my fiance as we're watching this, and I'm watching this through D&D eyes.
Okay.
Like the whole movie I was watching through the eyes of
The spider thing at the beginning was pretty crazy.
Oh, dude, it gets so much better.
is it Monster Hunter like Monster Hunter World, the video game?
Yes.
Or okay, so it is
Yeah.
based off that.
It's based on that, but at no point do you get like there's no.
I've never played the game, but I just know it's
Yeah,
supposed to be based off
I've never
that.
played the game either. I just seen
played the video game, the newest one, because I've always been inclined to play the video game because everybody talks about it like this is the best game ever. And throughout the part of the movie, like the first 45 minutes that I watched, you don't get the sense that this is a video game movie.
okay.
How they don't try to reference everything, in my opinion, but that may be
Well,
me not knowing a lot about the video game.
I got the same thing too at the very beginning, but then things halfway through the movie, things start to develop,
Yeah.
and you start to see the world
I think-
that they're in. I'll fucking tell you right now, man. The fucking cat was amazing.
I think
that's my new character.
Okay. I think the problem with video game movies is that for those of us that have played the games, they're awesome. Like I remember watching
Well, maybe not those that played the games,
well,
but those that have a connection with
I
the
love
game.
But
I
hold
love
on, like-
Prince of Persia, the game.
I didn't see the movie.
The movie was good.
I did not like that movie.
I like the movie a lot.
Maybe I have to rewatch
for
it, but
my example in this would have been the Assassin's Creed movie with
yeah,
Michael
They made
Fassbender.
that?
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought that was a bad dream that I had.
No. But like, there's
Just
parts
keep
of
it as a bad
that-
dream.
Like it.
I hate that franchise altogether. Like I hate Assassin's Creed because all
okay.
it is Reese fucking.
That's
skin
one
shit.
thing I don't like about it.
Here's the thing about Assassin's Creed is
It's the same game over and over and over again.
It is
Over and
at
over
this
again.
point.
The first three were good.
Well, Assassin's Creed 1 and then the whole Brotherhood trilogy and then the Assassin's Creed 3. That they should have just stopped right there, but they were cashing in and now
they still are. These motherfuckers eat that shit up.
What's it? What you got? Odyssey, Valhalla, Origins,
Black Flag.
Okay, Black Flag was the only one that I actually of the newer like 5 that I really liked because the boats. I thought
I
that was
really
fun.
like Syndicate just because I
But-
like the whole like seedy underground
But
like
the
turn of
like
the century thing.
what was the
but
Revolutionary War one?
Unity.
That was 3, wasn't it?
no. Oh, Revolutionary was just Assassin's Creed 3.
Okay, maybe I didn't like that one. Unity. I'm gonna take Black Flag because I actually like Black Flag because that
Unity
was introduced.
the French Revolution, and then the American Revolution was number 3.
Yeah, the American
Revolution was good.
I did not like that game.
Oh, okay.
It was the same. It's all the same fucking game.
Yeah.
When Black Flag, they introduced a whole new mechanic.
Yeah, and see, I
and
play
that
it
new
for
mechanic-
the story, and the story's all lined up right.
Yeah,
Maybe it was the same game, but let's be honest. Like the first Assassin's Creed, you fall into water and you instant die. Like you can't even like
well,
flounder
it's an
around.
old game.
Well,
they
I
don't.
know-
They didn't have
Well, it's
the,
not even
the
about-
development.
Okay, hold on. I mean, PS3. I don't know that I'd call that necessarily that old of a game, but at
What do you mean? That's 2 consoles ago, bro.
no, but okay, but that
Get
game
yourself a
was
PS5.
super repetitive.
Oh, that game was
gameplay.
terrible. I didn't even
but it
finish
was
it.
the only
a lot
thing.
of people didn't.
The only thing with that, it was new at that time though. So even
Yeah,
though it
but
was
even
repetitive, now that you go back and think about it, it's like it was repetitive.
No.
But the whole thing was new.
I was
but I
working
remember-
at GameStop at the time, and I was like, everybody's fucking clamoring for this shit, and I'm like, okay, cool, Assassin's Creed, I'll check it out. And I picked it up, and I was like, dude, I've been playing for 3 hours, and I've jumped off a tower into a fucking hay bale, just like the preview, about 600 fucking times.
Yeah, and-
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm out.
And that franchise really, I think they did a really good job with the story, but they skimped on the gameplay.
They should totally have just made those really good movies instead of making it a video game.
Yeah.
I
Because
don't know
if
that
you think about like,
they could have.
really?
I don't think they could have.
All right, here. What about another massive franchise?
Which the Assassin's Creed movie that you thought was a bad dream proves my point.
Well, I've never seen it, so
Elder Scrolls series. You guys fans of those?
nope.
I like them.
I'm diehard, like 100%.
Big fan of Oblivion. Big fan of Morrowind. Big fan.
Morrowind. It was is my
Skyrim.
all-time favorite. I loved Morrowind.
Was part of the beta for the Elder Scrolls Online.
I didn't.
It was
online,
okay,
I didn't
but,
like
like,
online too much.
Best thing about
I have a problem
online,
with MMOs.
I never got into the story of it. I just stayed in that first town and like stole everything from the manor and then fucking like took it to the secret thieves guild and sold it or broke it down
In which game?
in online.
Okay, yeah, online I didn't care. I like the single players.
Yeah.
The story's great. I think their quest lines are not repetitive. They have varying quest lines that do different things. They got puzzles, they got massive attacks, they got stealth ones.
See, that's kind of how
I
I feel about WoW though. Like you don't like WoW and you feel like it's repetitive, but I feel like WoW had the same kind of puzzle solving at the beginning. Like towards the end now it's basically
when I
cookie cutter
tried
repetitive.
WoW, every single quest was kill or collect 7 of these or 10 of those. And I'm like, oh, I'm really tired of
I just don't like MMOs. I think there was at one point in time I played EverQuest 2 and then but when those games were out, like EverQuest, I think Dark Age of Camelot was another one, Ultima Online. Why play that when I can go play Diablo 2, which has a great
Diablo
storyline
is
and
really
it's
good.
really fun.
I'm still waiting
I don't
for
need
that
to
movie.
Wait for my friends. I don't know that you're ever going to get that movie.
Man, but see, I like playing that. I think that's the thing that draws me to MMOs is I like playing with people. Like I like playing with my friends. Like the group aspect of it.
The only group aspect in games that I like is D&D.
Yeah, that's I
rest of it
really
just
like
irritates
single player
me.
video games
I don't see. I don't like.
except shooters.
No,
but
shooters are terrible.
I
hate
love
shooters. Because here's the
shooters.
thing: is
Yeah.
like there's so many different. There's not a sliding scale of talent in the shooter. It's like you invest all this time and you're good. There's no casual play, I should say. Like
That's how I
as
feel
for
about
me,
MMOs. You miss a raid and you miss the loot that everybody gets, and then it's
I don't.
Honestly, I don't know.
You're SOL.
I mean, as
If
for a
I-
shooter,
if-
as the game is, the longer the game's out, the less I get interested in it, because the longer the game's out, you get all these people to spend 12 hours a day playing, and then they start memorizing everything. But at the beginning, like the first 6 months of a shooter
First
game,
2 weeks. I mean, come
everybody's still like really trying to play, and I don't know. Every game, every session or match is slightly different, and I like it. I enjoy it,
yeah, there is one,
but I do
game-
get bored of them pretty quick.
There's one MMO. Well, it's not an MMO. It's a multiplayer game that I think looks really cool, and I think it'd be something that we could play together, which would be fun. But they did play it on what was it? The Critical Role's Travis's Yeehaw Game Ranch or whatever. And it was the premise of it was like a 4-player game, and one person is the adventurer, and the other 3 are the monsters. And whoever kills the player first becomes the player.
They made like 4 games. Like there's
Did
the
they?
Predator's Hunting Ground. There's like Evolve was kind of like that.
Okay, this was like
there's
real 8-bit.
Friday the 13th, the game where one person is Jason and everybody else is the campers. But I don't. You know what? I used to be a hardcore gamer. Like I used to game all
same.
the time. Like
D&D fucked that up.
All this stuff. I think just being exposed to D&D and the integral all the aspects that come with this hobby.
The integral ass.
The integral ass that comes with this hobby, like, have just turned me off to video games. Like, I feel like that if I can't play in a sandbox, I don't want to play. If I can't pick my direction or choose as a party, choose my direction, and nobody tell me no, like the code, there's always that, like, I feel like you're the sim that's constantly walking into a wall on a video game where, like, I want to go left. Yeah. I want to go left. Even though you showed me a T in front of me, you're telling me that I can only go right.
Right.
Like, I don't like that anymore.
Well, and that's how I look at the MMOs is like, well, I don't want to do that quest. I kind of want to see what happens if that quest goes uncompleted. Well, guess what's going to happen is everybody else is going to complete that quest, and it's going to change the world anyway.
Well, and that's kind of why I don't play those games anymore either. Like, it's the computer program. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with games. My gamer sense has evolved to the fact where I don't want a code to tell me my limitations. I want my own imagination or the will of my party to tell me my limitations.
Yeah.
Well, D&D definitely fucks it up for video games.
Well, I think it does, but I think the other thing that's really been, and I think we've talked about this before, maybe either just as a group or on the podcast, is like this whole push for hyper realism. It's like, I just got done living a hyper real life. The last thing I want to do is trudge through the snow and have to struggle and do all this stuff. I just want to sit down and play a fun game. And I think that's where Nintendo is knocking it out of the park still. And that's why they're still relevant, is because they don't try to do the hyper realism thing. They're like, no, this is fun. That's why we're selling it to you.
To that point directly. All right, so I'm going to get off video games with this, but it's going to stay on that hyper-realism point.
Yeah.
I watched Death Becomes Her the other day.
It's a great movie.
Great fucking movie, right?
Classic.
Dating yourself now.
Whatever.
As I'm watching this movie, it's not hyper-realistic in any
No,
sense.
she walks around with a freaking hole in her.
No, I'm not even talking about
She
the
falls
magical
downstairs
part.
and twisted her neck.
I'm not even talking about, even the acting part. The acting was theatrical.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And-
and you could definitely make like Death Becomes Her into like a Broadway play.
Or
really
Clue.
easy.
But
Did you
it
ever see
reminds
Clue?
me, but
It
I
reminds
think
me
one
of, like,
thing.
the Rocky Horror Picture film.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. Absolutely.
But one thing I think, all the movies coming out today everybody focuses on super realistic movies and like, the
gritty.
detail and the grittiness. Like we're missing such a great gem and treasure in art and movies and entertaining. We don't see theatrical movies like that anymore.
Well, the same thing goes with like Disney
God.
animated movies. Like everybody wants to see the real life spinoff. I just want a classic, not a classic, but I want an old school animation Disney movie again. You know what I mean? Give me that.
Yeah, no computers.
No
somebody draw that
CGI,
shit out,
somebody
please.
draw it out. Give me the frame by frame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I just want that, like that old school Jungle Book feel again.
Yeah.
I
You know what I mean?
think
with
even
the over the top score and interesting characters.
Speaking of Jungle Book, though, go back and watch go back and watch the Robin Hood Disney movie. That movie
it's
could
so
not be
good.
made today.
None of them can, man.
It is so
None of them can.
un-PC.
None of them can.
yeah.
You can't. You can't make any of those movies nowadays.
But I get your point. Like
I just missed the theatrics, and I loved it. Like I think that theatrical acting is more talented than the realistic acting.
Yeah,
I just think you got to get into the realistic. We all live in, like you said, we live in our real world. We're here in the real world.
Yeah.
When I watch a movie, sometimes I don't want to fucking be in the real world. Well, I want to be in some make believe. Just tell me a fun story and I entertain.
This is why I have a problem with like the big like comic book books trying to make their real life heroes. Like DC, you're really good at animated movies. Tell your story in an animated version, and it will sell just as much.
Oh, yeah.
If not more, because you can pump them out faster than hiring all these big name actors. Like, just give me a theatrical style cartoon animated movie to watch with a R-rated and some real life, like not real life stuff, but like some adult content.
Yeah.
And you're going to fucking pull me in just as much as Avengers would.
But see, here's the other thing, though, that you just brought up that is really irritating for me lately is, so there was somebody a long time ago that said, if you're a good songwriter, you don't need to cuss, right? And I actually...
Will Smith?
Yeah.
Did you say that?
We're going to cancel culture that?
Yeah, well, no, I just, like, I don't have a problem with cussing or whatnot, but, like use your imagination. Yeah. Let's come up with some cool stuff. But the same thing goes with the HBO culture lately is like everything has to be hypersexualized. And
oh
it's like,
my God, it gets annoying.
That's not adult content. Like, give me situations that adult has to deal with, and the crap that you are trying to sell me as adult content, I'm burned out on
90% of that doesn't happen in real life anyway.
I know. Well, you know what bothers me about
the sycophantic fantasy.
The mass amount of just nudity they put on the HBO shows is like they'll give you a minute, 2 minutes of story, and then here's 7 minutes of a sex scene that literally does not develop the story in any way.
It's pornography.
Yeah, I'm like, why the fuck? You're wasting space here.
You do realize that 2 of the top grossing shows of HBO of all times are like Spartacus and fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I don't. Game of Thrones didn't do it over the top though. I don't think. I mean, there's some on HBO that it's like they just go way too fucking far.
Those 2 shows right there showed that you can get away with some of this stuff. So now they're pushing boundaries.
There's actually, I can't remember.
Well, I think
when's the first time you heard the word bitch on fucking TV and you were like,
do you remember?
And now they're saying,
pretty sure that was Eddie Murphy's
Oh my God. Okay.
Or
so
Richard
do you
Pryor,
remember, late 90s, early 2000s, my parents said this, I bet your parents, someday they're just going to start cussing all over the TV and showing nudity all over the TV. Well, we're fucking there now. Yep.
Yeah.
You go past 11 o'clock at night, there's no more rules on TV.
You don't even have to go past 11 o'clock at night. You stream it whenever you want, man.
Or
I'm talking just cable though.
Even like it's just prime time
gone
at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whenever that happens. But I think that's the beauty of D&D. Getting back kind of on our topic is like
everybody's nude.
Well, no, is like the focus is literally storytelling, and it's not like shock, jock, and views. It's literally like coming down and actually writing or having a good story. And I think that's something we've lost because a lot of these writers nowadays, they're looking for the quick, cheap, fast thing, and they're not putting the work in to give us these epic, crazy,
but here's
awesome
the thing,
stories.
though, is because you only make money on your retweets. You only make money on your social media. So the writers are saying, what can I think that's what made Family Guy such a good cartoon, is because they took the shorts and then wrote a story around the shorts.
Yeah.
So they came up with the shorts first, or the little skits, and then they wrote the episode around the skits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their shock moments strategically placed throughout this episode were the real content. And then everything else is filler. These people are going about it the wrong way. They don't have those shock moments. They're trying to write a story, and then they're like, okay, now we need a shock moment for this episode. What's going to get everybody talking about on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook? It's all about the retweets, man. How much can you say? How often can you stay relevant in the social media aspect of everything?
That's my point. Is good storytelling doesn't need to stay relevant. It just is.
No, it does need to stay relevant.
No, because the Odyssey is still something that people read.
Nobody's tweeting about it on Tuesday, bro.
Nobody cares about.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, Andy.
Like,
a good story.
Everybody still knows who Charles Dickens is.
Yeah,
but many people don't know who Aaron Sorkin is.
I think a lot of the shit you're talking about with the retweeting, I got to make the money now, and that won't stand the test of time.
I don't think it's sustainable.
Where the stuff you're talking about should and probably will stand the test of time.
If you're a producer in Hollywood or a producer period, or you have something that you want to sell, you know what I mean? You're not worried about the test of time. You're worried about filling your pockets now.
I know, and that I'm saying that's the problem.
And that's where you take your. At that point, it's no longer an art; it's a job.
Yeah,
I don't think. I don't. Okay, but then you can't classify D&D as an art form either because they're pumping out books left and right. So no longer is D&D or publishing those books an art form.
I think that's a stretch of an analogy.
I don't think so.
I don't think
because
it's a stretch.
If you think about it, like they're pumping out 2 and 3. That's like pumping out a trilogy of movies.
You know what?
Yeah, but the difference.
Twilighting 5e.
We'll get that next month or May.
And there might be that might be the topic at some point in time, but I think that I don't think the books are D&D. I think the playgroup is D&D, and the players and the DM is D&D.
Yeah.
I don't think the books are.
They just make
props.
content. Yeah, they make the things. The players make the stories.
I agree with you guys, but I rephrase it. They don't make content. I believe the players in the playgroup make the content. The books give you the guidelines.
Okay, content guidelines. That's what I was. They give you the tools for the players to create a story.
Yeah,
to create the content. You know what? All this talk about
Makes me thirsty.
Pop culture and what's wrong with our world and
yeah. I need a beer.
I do too.
I'm anxious now.
I know.
Whew, what's on tap tonight? Have a pint, take a break, and relax. It's my favorite part of the show. So tell me, boys, what's on tap?
Okay, tonight on tap, or today on tap, we've got Mysterious Familiar. It is a coconut vanilla dessert stout by my personal favorite brewery. So I would really love it if Silver City Brewery would sponsor us at some point because you guys make great beer.
Where are they at?
They're out of, it's like Bremerton area. I've had a
move to Bremerton.
Oh, did you get this one specifically because I don't like chocolate?
It's not chocolate.
I know. This one says coconut vanilla.
Yeah.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Yeah, it's a special one that they have.
Well, fuck, I'm cracking this shit.
Yeah, go ahead and pop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. This beer is really, really good. When I drank the first one, doing my research, as everybody knows, I think it was maybe just my mood. I wasn't in the mood for a super dark beer. I mean, this thing is 9%. Whoa. But,
oh, cheers.
Clink. Yeah, I got kind of tired at the end, but I think it's just because it's so heavy.
Ooh. That's nice.
I like that one.
That reminds me of the Coco Jones, though.
Ooh,
that's what I was thinking when I got it. Was like,
just no chocolate.
Yeah.
That's probably why I like it.
Well, because the Coco Jones is coconut porter, but they use a chocolate malt, and I don't know if they used a chocolate malt in this. I would imagine they did because of the color, but
yeah, that's a tasty one.
Yeah, you can get this right now. Everywhere I've gone, I've seen tons of it, so it's readily available, unlike a lot of the other ones. But yeah, I don't know. It's a one beer. I don't know that I could drink a 4-pack of this stuff.
Yeah, the darker you get, the thicker you get, the more that it's only like a one beer thing.
Yeah.
I think that's why they can call it a dessert stout, though. Like, so instead of getting your piece of three-tier chocolate cake, you get yourself a dessert porter or stout.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how my very first sip of it, before I even drank it, like I smelled the coconut.
Yeah.
It's
a very coconut forward.
Yeah, it's got a lot of rich aroma
yeah.
Like if they could do this in coffee form.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh.
That would be good.
Or if you could this might be good with a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this would definitely be good with a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
What do you use for creamer in your coffee? Coconut vanilla stout.
Yeah. Mysterious familiar.
Well, what you just said something that was interesting because I was thinking about this of like, so we talked about the king size a while ago. I want to get a king size candy stout and
black and tan it.
No, a Snickers, ice cream Snickers bar and eat those together. Because I don't know, have you had the ice cream Snickers bars? They are so freaking good.
Yeah.
They're way better than a regular Snickers.
Yeah.
But that together, oh.
That's the same thing though, man.
I know, but
you know what you should do is you should take a can of king size stout and put it in the freezer like you did last 2 weeks ago's episode,
Slush it.
and slush it, and then you got your fucking candy bar fucking popsicle.
Yeah.
All right. This might be way too off. But a black and tan, but with the your candy bar stout you like, and the orange creamsicle.
Yeah, I already said that.
You did?
Yeah.
Fuck, don't
when
remember.
we did the dreamsicle, I think.
Don't remember.
But here's another thing.
So orange and chocolate go together for some fucking reason.
Well, remember we did that whole conversation with the orange? Isn't there a chocolate orange already?
Oh fuck yeah, I remember that.
Lord, man. But
Dude,
here's
what were we talking about before?
The sour with the candy bar style might be good as a black and tan.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
thinking that might be pretty good.
I mean,
see, I'm all I'm doing is picturing Sour Patch Kids and a chocolate bar mixed together.
Why not?
I don't know.
You only live once. Fuck it.
And you become dead
I
from
like this,
diabetes.
I like this. This is good.
yeah,
I like this one.
this is a decent. Like I said, I'm kind of biased because
Yeah,
Silver
Andy-
your
City
favorite
is like
brew?
my
Yeah, Andy-
favorite
yeah.
brewery, but
Every time we go to the store, I'm like, hey, what do you want to drink? It's Silver City Red. Silver City Red.
Ridgetop
Silver
Red,
City
man, it's
Red.
like one of the best. Definitely a daily drinker. But this one, what I noticed is about 2/3 into it, I was kind of like, okay,
Yeah, this is not something you can down a 6-pack.
No,
of,
this
in my
is-
opinion.
this
is yeah.
this is you
Have a
nurse
drink
this.
during
I-
dinner or something, and
I think it's after dinner. This is
Or
not
after
during
dinner.
9%.
And
with
this
the
isn't a-
thickness.
this isn't a
while
ch-
eating a steak. Oh man, it's too much.
This isn't a chugger either. This is a
no,
a
not at all.
nurse this one over an
Yeah,
hour.
but
or
I
so.
feel like I would get tired of this too, just because by the end of it, like it would be warm, and I feel like this is one of those things that is best cold.
Oh, it's good warm. I
You're a
like.
fucking weirdo.
I know, but
Right.
like, okay, I personally, the darker the beer, I generally like that on the warmer side. And then also when it comes to like German style beers, I like those to be more of the room temperature as well, just because there's so many different flavors and nuances with that you can't taste at the colder level.
I will admit that the warmer the beer is, the more flavor that you get. Like,
Yeah.
if I feel like with that sour that we had last week, it kind of nulled
Yeah.
the sourness of it, because the other sour that I've tried was 20 times more sour than that
Yeah.
sour, and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, dude, this. I feel like the slushiness or the coldness of it killed the sour.
It did pull that back a lot, I think. But
That's
Yeah.
probably why Coors Light says drink our beer at 33 degrees.
well,
Well, sweet ass says keep cold.
they do say that like
I think it's just the style of beer.
good
you know?
good. Well, I mean, sure, they say that the better
When
the
you're
beer,
beer
the
ponging-
warmer you can drink it.
The what?
The better the beer, the warmer you can drink it, because there's a lot you do numb your taste buds a lot with cold things, right?
Yeah.
You hear that, kids? So when you want to eat your broccoli, keep it cold.
Yes. But I mean, this one I do think is good cold. I do think it's good warm. The only reason that I would give it like a 3 or a 3.5 is just because it is an exhausting beer. It is a track.
This
Yeah.
is not something you drink multiples of. This is definitely
No.
a dessert. It's a niche. It
Yeah.
has its own carving.
That's
Like this. If you bought a 6-pack of this, it'd probably last you a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This is
Six-
not even
6
something.
days.
Yeah, this is not. Well, not even that, man. I don't know if I could drink this multiple days in a
Yeah,
row. I
no,
think
I
my
wouldn't.
taste buds would be like
Well, I sat
craving
down.
something
It's
else.
sit in the freezer or fridge for a while.
I told you, don't keep it in the freezer.
Yeah. I drank this while I was trying to paint minis, and I say while I was trying because halfway through it I was like,
Ooh, that's a pretty color.
you know,
Oh,
I couldn't get it. So I this is not like a sit. I mean, it is a sit down and chill out, but it's like I think it's a sit down,
You
chill
you almost need to smoke a cigar with this. That could be nice.
out. Yeah.
mm.
Or a pipe.
Yeah.
Get some good vanilla.
A hookah. Get your hookah.
You know, I've only ever done that once, and it was terrible because somebody put grape in it or something like that.
Dude, we used to hookah all the
Oh my
time. huh?
god, yeah.
one
We're
point-
sitting here talking about it. I'm like, Ben, where's your hookah
At one
at?
point, I had like 7 of them.
I think I went to like a hookah bar back when you were allowed to go
Yuck.
places, but
No. You
It
gotta
was
get that.
nasty.
You gotta get
you gotta
the
get
good shit.
yeah, Grandmaster Ben to hook up the hookah with the fruity pebbles.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know if I can do fruit things like that.
so good,
dude, it's just it's flavored smoke.
Well, I
Well,
know.
and then
Come on,
once
it's
you like,
delicious.
and then you chill the water. And you
Oh.
get that. Oh man,
little icy.
Woo. Maybe we need to put that up next time we record.
I can do that.
Dude, I'd so be down. I'd so
I
be
thought
down.
about putting it up at the D&D table.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Just have one underneath the table and every
Really long
section has
fucking
its own-
hoses.
What's in this man?
God damn, I want to use a hookah right now.
Okay, ignorant me though. Like, is that? I mean, it's just a tobacco, right?
Yeah, it's just tobacco. It's
Yeah.
it's shisha.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's not even the same level of tobacco as like a cigarette.
No.
You don't get a
No.
nicotine like some, if you're new to smoking a cigarette, people get a nicotine buzz. That doesn't come from
But,
hookah.
Yeah.
but it's not something that it's almost like a cigar where you don't inhale.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You hold.
Yeah. As a smoker,
You
I inhale
enjoy-
because
yeah,
I do
taste.
smoke
Yeah.
already, but
But as a cigar, like if you ever smoke cigars or whatever, that's kind of like what you do with hookah.
Yeah.
You don't. It's
Yeah.
all about the.
it's purely flavor.
Yeah,
That's what it's
and
about.
It's all about the breathing. It's all about the meditation while breathing, the inhale, exhale.
Yep.
But you're
Yep.
not really like.
You're not doing
It's
it
still
for the
bad for you though.
You're not.
It is
You're
still
not
bad for
You're
you.
not doing it for the chemical makeup. What is in
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't fucking care about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you do care because you are inhaling, so you want like clean,
Yeah.
not
Well, you
fucking
definitely-
chemical
yeah.
shit. But
You definitely want to clean your bowls too, for sure. I learned that the hard way. Oh, good lord!
and getting right. What are they called? The little pucks.
Charcoals.
The charcoals.
Yeah.
There are some bad ones that you can
Ugh.
taste
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
the hookah if you get low quality shit.
I
Like
think what that is trying to smoke the hookah too fast. Like, well, no. Like if the
there's something
charcoal's
to
not
that.
lit all the way,
yeah.
if the charcoal's
Doing it
not
too
lit all
early.
the way, and you're trying to like, dude, because there's been some times when we didn't let the charcoal burn, and we tried to burn it through smoking it.
During a learning process.
Yeah, that's
all,
Yeah.
all of
gross.
that kind of goes to with smoking a pipe or smoking a cigar too. If you smoke that stuff too fast, you get that burnt taste, and like you can ruin really expensive, nice pipes by smoking the wrong stuff in it, or
You
by
fuck up a cigarette by smoking it too fast.
All I'm saying is, us as a society are rather impatient and want things
Give it to me
now.
now.
Damn it!
and that's why we have jewels.
All
All
right.
right. Well, don't say all right when I'm saying all right.
I sensed that you were saying all right.
You fucking divination
I mean,
wizard.
look at how thick that is on the side
That
of
is.
the glass. I mean, it's like there is
That's
one.
you know what that looks like, honestly?
Contrast paint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, that's exactly where I was going.
you know, well, there is one. There is a beer that I do want to share with you guys eventually. It's another
What happened
stout.
to that peanut butter stout? that
I
you
didn't
done-
bring it because I wanted to
He-
give him a couple.
Too much
Fuck
research.
John.
No. I wanted to give him a couple time
Away from
for break.
chocolate.
I think
Yeah.
we need to do an IPA next week, though.
I would agree.
Have we done like a
But we're not doing it.
no? I'm like a Belgian
I
Uh,
think it's a one for me.
no, but I do have
or a red. We haven't done a red.
I
I could do
have
the
a-
rich top red.
we could do the
I'm
top
down.
red.
I mean,
Four.
there's a couple reds I like. I'm not
thinking to
some
pop this
reds.
for-
Some reds got a really weird aftertaste that I don't like. But some reds are like, I'm fuck yeah, that's delicious.
Fuck yeah.
I'm fuck yeah, I'm down.
Fuck yeah.
No, we haven't done any Belgians yet, but there's so many different types of them, so I'd have to know like what you guys
what
want.
do they call a Belgian white?
Well, there's
Yeah, Blue Moon.
Blue Moon is
Well,
a
they
hef.
got-
It's basically
they got-
a hef.
Yeah. Well, they got non-mass produced
They do.
Belgian whites.
But what I was saying about this being so thick is
I'm
there's
thinking for the series finale or the seasonal finale, we
The
need to do a
season.
cocktail.
Okay.
Whoa, all
We do a
right, okay.
cocktail from.
Why did
out
Sean
of
Connery
the,
just come out?
We're gonna do a cocktail
out of the
out of the Brewmaster's Guide.
okay.
Oh
We're gonna
shit!
do one of the, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Was there any drinks in the Heroes Feast book?
I
Yeah,
don't.
there is.
there
There's
is
a whole
in the
section,
back.
but I have a whole book.
Yeah, I've seen the Brewmaster's book before.
Real quick, I
that's
just
a
gotta
good one.
tell
I like
you
that.
this. There's this beer by Oscar Blues out of Denver, and it's called 1050. Okay,
How
Yeah.
do I spell that?
FIDY. Fuck industry, do it yourself is what they say. FIDY stands for.
1050.
So anyway,
Come on, that's
That
just
stuff-
street lingo for 50.
okay, it is, but that stuff will take this glass and it is like motor oil, and it's like a 10.5%.
That is like it will eat the shit
It's
out
not.
of
It's
it.
not 10.5%.
Oh, okay,
It's
so you-
10W30.
Here's the thing.
It's basically, but like when I say motor oil, I'm not talking like brand new out of the bottle. I mean like it's been in the car for a while.
Dude, so
It's not the goldenly brown that's a good oil.
Yeah.
So off the subject real quick, but still drinks. We all indulge. I don't know if you do, Andy, but I indulge, and John, I know you do indulge in energy drinks.
Yeah, I did not.
Yep.
So I was at work.
Coffee?
I was at work the other day,
That's an energy drink.
and the gentleman driving around on his electronic pallet jack dumped a whole case of Monster energy drink on the ground.
No.
It is bad. I don't like that energy drink either. But that thing sat like the liquid sat on the ground for maybe about 3 minutes, and when they wiped it up, it stripped the clear coat off the fucking floor.
Oh,
You're putting that in
yeah.
your body.
Yeah, like, I
oh
was
yeah.
physically disgusted. But you know what I drank today?
Well, you know what? All right. Hold on though. Just for I'm not a fan of Monster, but it used to be. But then I found better stuff. For stripping clear coat, you're gonna probably want an acidic something. And when you mix water and carbon dioxide together, you create an acidic solution.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill and I.
Yeah.
Forget all the flavors and
Yeah, yeah,
energy chemicals and
Coca-Cola.
yeah. But I mean, if you let club soda sit on a concrete floor with an enamel, typed coating, maybe not enamel, I don't know what it is, but it would probably do the same thing. It's just pure club soda.
Well, so
I think it was just mentally, like the vision of it was
Yeah.
just mentally disturbing because,
now think about that every time you drink a sparkling water. Same thing.
yeah,
Ooh.
in theory, the one that gets
Is that
me,
what they call that sparkling?
yeah.
Yeah, well, you take that same concept, and
Yeah.
I'm going to go deep here because this is my realm. I love this type of shit. But they say the oceans are getting acidic.
Yeah, and
That's because of CO2. That's also what you use CO2 to create sparkling or club soda.
yeah, and well,
And it's the acidity
okay, wait a minute
of
though,
the liquid,
because
the solution.
I thought, and maybe we're getting way off topic here, but I thought carbon monoxide was bad. Carbon dioxide is something that just happens.
For breathing, yes.
Okay,
But in a solution,
gotcha.
a solution is
Yeah.
couple various molecules mixed together.
Mhm.
The answer to the problem.
Water,
It is.
H2O, and CO2.
Yeah,
Mix them together, you get club soda. There's probably some other shit in there, but
yeah.
generally, that's what it is. You got
Seltzer
water and CO2, and you mix them together, and you get the bubbly stuff. But that creates an acid. That
Okay.
means that water is now not neutral pH. It is an acidic pH.
I have a feeling that
So generally, the same thing would happen if you like cut an orange in half and you stuck it on a concrete floor. The
Fuck yeah.
acidity of the orange.
Oh
would
my-
probably suck
dude,
it.
there's
we
many
used to
times
have
at work that I'll
used
use,
to have a citrus
I'll use
cleaner.
Coca-Cola to clean stains off of new concrete.
Well, isn't it? Did you guys ever put the piece of bologna on the person?
Yep, done
in-
that.
in-
Duct tape will do it too.
Yeah. Well, the person's car that you hate.
No,
Just leave it there.
Put it in
all
the
fucking
sun?
Night?
No.
Oh man.
is it
Yeah.
bad?
Well, you peel the duct tape off. It has to be. You can leave it there all night, but it really works better if you
In
do
the
it all
sun.
day in
Yeah.
the sun.
Okay.
Well,
That
you
does
put
a
it there-
whole nother
You
thing.
put it there at night so they don't see you.
Yeah, but in the sun, duct tape will do the same thing. But it fucks up the paint,
Gotcha.
destroys the clear coat, lightens the paint underneath it.
I mean, here's the
But,
Forever
I mean,
known
talk
as
about-
the bologna wagon.
But talk about the citric stuff. At work, I deal with industrial level chemicals, and we had a citrus cleaner that we use to clean stuff. And one of the guys was like, "Oh, I'm going to use this stuff to clean the bearings on these cartwheels, and get them, get all the grease and grime out of there." And then he was going to re-grease them.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, just take all the grease.
No,
and then-
he's gonna re-grease them.
They don't
but
fucking go
But he
anymore.
was like, "Oh, this will get all the nasty shit out, and then I can re-grease them from there." So he cleans them all and goes through like 30 of them, cleans them all, and then lets them set out to dry. Well, when he comes back, the plastic seals,
are completely gone.
they're fucking melted,
Yeah.
and gone, and the bearings are falling
Well,
out.
so back in the early 90s or early to mid 90s, there was this big craze of like these air fresheners that were citric. They were orange, right? And my mom was a hairdresser, so she'd hairspray all the time, right? And my little brother was, I would say 2, 3. My mom knew the poison control hotline's number by heart because of this young man.
Wow.
But he took this stuff and used it as hairspray, and it gave him like second degree chemical burns all over his head. And I mean,
you go citrus acid, man.
That's
nasty shit. Like the more concentrated and pure it is. I mean, we're so far off beer reviews here, but whatever.
Though? Isn't that what the C stands for? It's like
no, it's calcium, lime, and rust.
Oh yeah.
And calcium, lime, and rust. I think that's more base or alkalinic.
I don't know.
I can't remember exactly. I'm not a fucking chemist.
Are you sure? Do you play one on a podcast?
Yeah, because you kind of
I
are.
played one in college when I was taking these courses.
All the comments on this one are going to be like, John's wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Light me up. Light me the fuck up. Because I really don't.
Comments.
Yeah, just give us some comments.
I really don't know.
We're trolling for like bad comments at this point.
This is general information I'm speaking of that I'm probably
all right, but let's
really wrong.
Let's focus fire back to the Silver City Brewery. After all our alchemical talk.
What are we giving it?
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
I'm going to give it a 3 just because it's given it's got a niche. Like it's got a spot.
Yeah.
This is not like something that every time I see it in a fridge, I'm going to pick it up at the store.
I'm going to give it, as much as I actually like this beer, I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Okay.
Because I think that niche that you're talking about is pretty prevalent.
But I will say, like, this is something that you
it's
can
really
bust out.
fucking good, though.
This is really good.
It's really fucking
this is
good.
Fantastic. But I think my overall score reflects the fact that it's not repetitive drinker.
Yeah, it's a one and done, and I don't mean that like you're lit afterwards. No, but I mean like
you're full. But this is something like I can see at holidays. Like you'd bust out a 6-pack for you and your friends after you or the family after you did your holiday thing.
This is not something we're drinking in the middle of summer.
No. And you
when
know
it's
what?
hot out, you don't want
You're
this.
talking about the sun coming out. That might be affecting our rating. I'm going to give it a 2.5. Not in a knock on the beer. Just I can only handle the one.
Yeah, and I just finished one and I'm sweating.
Yeah, no, I'm sweating too. So I probably give myself a 3 actually.
Yeah, so
I think average 3.
If I take away my absolute fanboyness of Silver City Brewery.
Take that fucking shirt off. You gotta be staring us in the face.
No, well, okay. Something that we need to do is when COVID lifts again is every year.
You just demonetized the podcast. Way to go.
Why?
You said the C word.
Can't speak about COVID.
Okay, once the thing that shall not be named that everybody knows about.
It's the Voldemort of fucking...
the diseases that shall not be named.
There's the Washington State Brewers Guild does a cask festival every year, and they brew, like all the Washington State brewers, they bring all this beer in these casks. And I mean... Black Raven's there, so you can get Coco Joe brewed in a cask. I mean, all these like really cool
dude.
beers.
You should get your fucking beer brewed in a cask and just get the cask.
Who? Yeah,
you.
What? What?
I don't know. It'd be fucking cool.
Why does it only gotta be me?
Yeah,
you're 1/3 of Dice and Brews.
No, I'm not. No, I'm talking about you personally.
You drink just as much beer as I do.
I don't want the beer, though. I just want to see you walk in here and be like, this motherfucker got a cask of beer. That's amazing.
We can do that,
dude.
John,
I shock and awe you guys in so many other ways. I don't need a cask of beer.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, Gothar wouldn't mind having one in the area.
Well, then
Ben secretly is Gothar.
I'll help Gothar get this going.
Gothar's got to get a job. Speaking of Gothar, what are we going to give this Silver City Brewery Mysterious Familiar? I do like that name, though.
I know. All right, hold on. Before you hit that button.
I'm not hitting a button today. I told you.
What familiar is this? Let's go off your more common ones. Cat, owl.
Oh, you don't want to go pseudo dragon?
Oh no, we'll bring in the
familiar
warlock. Yeah. We'll bring in the warlock ones, but like pseudo dragon.
I'm gonna go with it's got to be a fat cat, right?
Yeah,
it's got to be a black cat, black fat cat.
This is a cat that you get like you think is like really cool, and then after spending 15 minutes with it, you're like, I need a break,
and it doesn't go away.
See,
I don't know. I got owl.
Owl.
Yeah, just an owl.
No, this does not make me feel light.
Okay,
and fluffy
I want
and
to hear
feathered.
The only
why.
reason because they're in D&D, they're considered a tiny creature, and physically they look fucking fat.
Yeah, but they're not.
They're really not. No,
Yeah, but this one
underneath
looks fat and is fat.
yeah,
And leaves fat.
yeah. I mean, this would have to be a fat cat for you, but I don't know. I just get owl. I get fucking Will Ferrell, rich mahogany and leather-bound books.
I get it.
That's not. Oh,
I get that from this.
And maybe because I have a 3-year-old and we watch Cinderella all the time, but I get the fat cat Lucifer.
Oh,
The lounging, entitled fat fucking cat.
I just want to say, like,
with the white belly.
Silver City, you're further proving why I think you're like the best brewery around. Just because
This is Andy.
this is just like, I mean, you guys are putting out a quality product.
It's good. It's actually
really
good. For a beer I probably wouldn't have bought for label face.
Yeah.
It says mysterious familiar. Are you fucking kidding me?
No,
You
I'm
wouldn't
talking
have bought
about
that?
the actual beer aspects of it. When it says, coconut, vanilla, stout. I probably wouldn't have bought
I would
that.
have tried it. It's got popping colors.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Purple. You love
It's
the purple.
basic
I do love
Silver
purple.
City stuff.
No, Ben loves
like
the purple.
It looks like a Bard label, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It kind of does. Yeah.
This
Scanlan.
this gives me a Riddler vibe personally.
Yeah, well, it kind of gives me like the quest giver
Oh, yeah.
symbol.
That
Like, it
too.
looks like the exclamation point and the question mark mixed together.
Yeah.
Like it's the
It
beginning
does.
and the end of the quest line.
Yeah.
It's an excited question.
I'm going to give it a 3.
Well, maybe that's the mysterious familiar part of it.
What?
Like,
What?
what game was that? Metal Gear Solid? Whenever the guy saw you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got the explanation.
Was that before boxes?
What?
Was that before you could hide in the
That
boxes?
was the same one.
That was the first
I'm
one.
gonna get the soundbite every time.
Somebody
every
says
time
something
somebody
weird.
said, all right, yeah, Gothar. Tell us what a 3 out of 4 for the Silver City mysterious familiar will be. An ale in the hand is worth 2 in the keg. All right, guys, on to today's subject, which we're gonna step out from behind the screen because I feel like all of our episodes up to this point have been kind of DM focused.
With the exception of the first one, yeah.
Yeah.
Why everybody should play.
And we're going to focus on you players. Yeah, you heard me. You players.
Play the game. Don't hate the players.
Night.
Hate the
And
game,
it's
right?
time to fight.
Do you
All right.
got your notes all right?
Looking to populate your tabletop with outstanding fantasy miniatures? Then look no further. Sneak Attack Prince has a range that will satisfy all your fantasy tabletop needs. From heroes to monstrous foes, these highly detailed miniatures will leave your players in awe when you put them on the table during your next game. So grab yours today and level up your tabletop. www.etsy.com/shop/SNK Attack Prince and tell them of Dice and Brews sent you.
John got messed up on that.
I have not eaten.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, so that 9% went straight to the head. Yeah, you got to drink
Like a-
that green tea to
He said,
counteract
I
that.
Like a fucking fresh cigarette smoker taking their first cigarette. Just a little.
I can feel the grass grow.
Yeah. He said, I can feel my hair jiggling in the back.
Well, so we're gonna roll dish to figure
all
out.
All right, let's go.
So today's topic, once again, is a
such a
player
good one.
side of things. What you should be doing at the table. What you should police yourself doing at the table. All those kind of things. What's going to make you a better player at your table?
Which means you're gonna have more fun.
Exactly.
What players should do to benefit the game from their side?
All right, I'm going to take first in this. Hopefully I can roll over a 10. I don't think I've rolled over
You're
a 10
gonna get double digits?
in this whole fucking thing.
I think I rolled the best. Oh my god, natural 20!
I got the flashing 20.
Well, get started, Ben. There's no reason for us to even try.
Yep.
You can, hold on. Somebody else can roll natural 20.
What's your plus?
Okay.
Is this a skill check?
Okay, well, we'll try. I'll try. There's no way I'm getting a natural 20. And I feel like just having you go. Yeah, I got a 7.
Here we
That's
go, here we
John
go.
numbers.
Please be a natural 1.
That's John's best roll ever.
Yeah, that actually is.
No, no,
he
like,
got a
no.
15. He got
No,
a
I
15.
said I tend to roll better during the podcast than actually in D&D.
I know.
He's won all of them except for one, I think.
Yeah, I
Initiative.
think so. Yeah.
Sad.
This is my first initiative I won ever. With a natural
And I
20.
talk better, bouncing off of somebody than starting a conversation.
It's always better when we put John on the spot, though. It's like, can
There's
you
like
feel your hair wiggling now?
there's like this
Let me
slow
shake.
start to it.
Yeah. When I start, I'm like, fuck. Okay, I got a concept. Let me fucking figure out the words to this concept.
Well, Ben, as the forever DM, what are
Let me consult my Mindly,
Ooh.
because this is a fucking fantastic app.
If anybody doesn't have this app,
Oh, man.
or an app like there's a few of them, but this fucking app, thanks to Andy,
This is a life changer.
is amazing. Such a great visual mental tool.
it's the visual side of
The visual
you don't
side.
get that visual side when you use
And just how
OneNote.
things connect.
Yeah.
How things connect and how easy they are to organize.
and
Yeah.
you can link them to things that aren't-
Mindly.
yeah,
So good.
It's really cool.
Mindly. Mindly.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm going to blow you guys away with my first point.
Ooh.
And we're just going to start this off.
Let's
With
go.
the natural
Go
20,
hard.
I think
Natural 20, we just
my
need to
mind's
go
already
hard.
blown.
It's
Alright.
your big topic.
And I'm going to say that us as players need to rethink how we roll skill checks. We
you're going that fucking controversial topic.
need to, instead of asking the DM that I want to roll a certain check, we needed to describe in detail what we want to do and have the DM iterate what skill check he wants us to make or they want us to make.
Use that description to make the DM say, "Oh, roll that insight check."
And for anybody
Exactly.
that has an issue with that, I would say that that's the way Matt Mercer does it.
No, but I think that's the way the game is
yeah,
how
yeah.
the game is played.
Forget one specific
Absolutely.
DM. I think that's what it's designed
So
for.
I know, but I'm just for anybody that's like, hey, I want to roll an investigation check. Why? No.
What are you doing?
Say, I want
Why?
to look for X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, is this more? Let the DM decide. Is
Make
this more of a
almost-
perception,
almost-
investigation, or an insight issue?
Almost in your description of what you're doing, you got to make the DM think like you got to force the DM to think like, oh, what the fuck role should I have him do?
Well, and then
and if you're like, I want to shuffle through that bookshelf and pull some books out and read some spines.
is there anything I find interesting?
Yeah.
And then as you're describing this, that DM should be like, oh fuck, oh. Okay, all right. Well, roll me an investigation check.
Yeah, I think us as players, we're looking at those skill trees way too intently.
Mm-hmm.
And in our minds, we have our description of what we're doing, but we're not voicing that. I
Yeah.
think it would make
Yeah.
very much more
Very
intricate.
much more.
Very much more. very more.
I put you up there.
Yeah, very much more. It would increase the immersion
Okay.
and the storytelling aspect of our games
Yeah.
if we described how we were doing things as opposed to asking for checks directly.
I've fallen into that trap a million times doing
I
the
think we
exact same
all
thing.
become
Yeah.
complacent.
But it's like if you want a visual analogy, when you're in a video game and you go into a room and you want to search this room, you hit menu bar,
X,
pull up your skills,
X,
fucking hit
X.
your investigation or whatever. You're clicking buttons and shit rolls out in front of you. In D&D, that's not how it is. And D&D, it shouldn't be how it is. Personally,
I want to go poke around that barrel over there. It looks weird.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be. That's
your
the thing, though.
description
It
of it.
doesn't have to be like a full paragraph of like,
No,
No.
my
No,
guy
what you just
saunters
said.
over to the bookshelf, pulls out
What you
the
just
top
said.
shelf,
I want to poke around in that
rifles
barrel.
through. Yeah, exactly. That's all it has to be. Us as players, everybody at a table, like stop focusing on what checks you want to do. Tell the DM what you want to do.
Yeah.
In a little
Yeah.
bit of description.
And I
That
know,
also
I know
paints
this is players' night. But I do think that also does come
Don't
down.
you say it.
Don't you say it. You're gonna.
Don't you say it.
The
Are you about to
DM making the DM making the description. The description good because I recently and on a personal note in our last session of the game that I'm running for you guys, I fell into that trap and I did not describe it, so I did not give you guys the opportunity to do what we're talking about in this session. And okay, DM out of it now, but I do think that players should, if they want that level of, like you said, immersion, if the DM's doing that, and the DM's giving you enough to be immersed, you also need to immerse the DM.
Well, here's the thing: is energy feeds energy. Positivity feeds positivity.
For sure.
Detail feeds detail.
Mm-hmm.
If you, and like when we said in an episode or a couple episodes ago, is like you only get what you get out of it, or you only get what you give into it. So if you're just like your fondest hobbies, like you want something, or just like that video game that we were talking about earlier, if you pump 50 hours into it, you're going to get 50 hours worth of entertainment. You hope. With this game,
Depends on what
I was being just a little snarky in that, and just a little snarky. But in D&D especially, because it's a collaborative storytelling game, and the focus is on storytelling, like if you put those storytelling phrases or details in there, then you're gonna get a more detailed description back, or you hope so.
Mm-hmm.
You should.
When you say detailed, what goes to my mind is length, and what I think you're probably actually trying to say is accurate.
No, and I'm not going to say it. No, I think it's detailed, because just like in my mind,
I see what you're saying.
In my mind, you saying I want to go poke around that barrel over there, and I'll be like, okay, well, you saunter over to the barrel and you poke around it and you remove the top, and it just kind of pops off, and you look in there and there's some rotted jerky or there's some rotted potatoes in there.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily lengthy, but it's very painting a picture.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying though. He's saying it.
Or
he thought lengthy at first, but then he realized accurate. And accurate is a good description, I would say, of that. It's in your analogy, I think it's or your example, I think it was great. I poke around in that barrel. That was what, fucking 6, 7. Well, I don't even know how many words. I'm not counting it, but it was short, simple, but it conveyed the message perfect.
But it also described an attitude.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, I want to poke around that barrel over there. That's not necessarily being like, I'm totally focused on that barrel, but I see that and it kind of excites me.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to wander on over that barrel and pop the lid and see what happens.
You know what?
Kind of casual.
Yeah.
You know what that gives the DM? The opportunity to use passive or active.
I don't think so in that point, because
I'm just saying like,
or now it's a mimic. Never mind.
You throw out.
I don't like you poking around.
I want to poke around that barrel. You can give the description of the barrel via their passive. But if that's not good enough for them, then they could say, do I find anything? Oh, give me an active.
You were looking for something?
Oh,
why didn't you say that?
No, but here's the thing, though, is like, if you tell me you want to poke around that barrel, I'm not going to say the word, but I would ask for an investigation check, because that's exactly what you're doing, is you're investigating the barrel.
Yeah, I probably would too.
Right.
But if you wanted to delve deeper, you could.
But here's the thing. So, like, Andy, let's just play this out real quick. You tell me you want to poke around the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say, okay, roll an investigation check. What'd you roll on the dice? 3. So I would give you pretty much exactly what I said before. I was
it smells like a rotten
you
potato.
Pop this off. It's kind of, the top is kind of like a weathered and damp.
Yeah.
Kind of like crumbling in your hands almost, and you see some rotten potatoes with a little bit of liquid in the top. Now, let's say that you rolled a 17 on that. Then I'd give you a little bit more, and I'd be like, maybe there was something in that barrel. But the 3 dictates that you don't find something. But
because you maybe... But
here's the thing. So at the 17, then I'm like, okay, but you stare into the liquid a little bit further, and you see something shiny down at the bottom. You reach your hand in, and you grab out 2 gold coins.
Yeah, so... Totally. Like, the 3 means we do the stereotypical man look and we like scan the room and go, yeah, I can't find my shoes. The 17 is like, no, I got down on my hands and knees. I looked underneath the table.
I don't think it means that much either.
My fucking kids underneath the couch.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like...
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think it means that much. I think the difference between a 3 and a 17, and now we're getting way too off players' night here.
Which is 15.
Players' night.
But the difference between 3 and 17 is like, if I had a barrel and already pre-descriptively wrote this out and said that there was 3 gold coins in the bottom of it. But if you rolled a 3, then I would say that you're completely turned off by the other substances that are in this barrel that you don't notice the gold coins.
Yeah, I can get that.
But if you roll to the 17, you're able to look past those things and you see the gold coins on the bottom of this barrel.
Or you're willing to put your hand in there and move the...
And to keep it on point with players being players' night, I think one of the huge... we just spoke about perception. One of the other big ones is insight. That a lot of players, when a DM is telling a story and
He's staring like daggers at me right now. I just have to say that.
No,
you're an insight, bro.
I'm bouncing between both of you. But you have now I can cross my eyes and get you both in the same fucking line of sight. But
Don't ever talk about me in your line of sight again.
but I think insight is another one that a lot of players don't utilize. Even I got a fucking low wisdom or -1, whatever. You should utilize your insight because I think I think there's a big void in storytelling from the player's side of things. But the DM can only give so much information, without the characters investigating or talking or anything. But if the players used insight, regardless of their score there, I think a player should use insight far, far more often than I see it be used.
And let me okay, I get what you're saying, but
it should be on the equivalent of perception, I think.
Okay, but as a player, it should be, hey, DM, am I getting like a vibe that he's X, Y, and Z?
Okay, how you want to bring it about? Yeah.
No, but and then it'd be like, hey, roll an insight check.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But what I hear very frequently is, I want to roll an insight, and I've done this too. I want to roll an insight check because I'm getting a vibe.
No, see, and that's
the wrong
to my
way.
thing. This game, let the DM dictate. Who's dictate? So let the DM dictate what skill you roll for your dice.
Well, because
Space
and the reason that what comes to mind is like, okay, insight and perception. Maybe the DM goes, here's what you say, and says, roll a perception check. Yeah, you perceive that that's what's going on. Well, okay, so I'm going to look into that a little further. So I perceive that that's going on. Like, am I noticing like anything about his facial structures? Make an investigation check, or I don't know.
Here's
Like,
the thing is like at that point,
too
like,
deep, but
if I know,
I think you're splitting insight into perception and investigation, which should just be an insight.
Your diving I think
there's
insight,
a lot of times though that we perceive something.
Okay.
Insight is kind of like when you're dealing with people, that's your insight skill.
Yeah,
Okay.
When you're
yeah.
dealing with inanimate objects, that's your perception investigation skill.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we're in mid conversation, you guys are facing
Insight is intentions.
You're coming across that person that you haven't already verified as an ally to you,
Or not only
and
that, or is that person that you've already been accustomed to or exposed to is acting a certain way, or maybe the tone of their voice is off.
However, the situation is, the DM gives you, a dialogue of some sort, and you're sitting here thinking like, okay, as the player, not the character, you're sitting here thinking, okay, is this character, this NPC, is he legit? Instead of trying, and this is kind of what I do because I'm not good at the voices and I'm not really good at the acting skills.
Oh, we know.
I know.
The conveying of feelings.
To convey of feelings because I'm actually devoid of feelings. But
back to the cold-heartedness that I spoke of earlier.
Yep. Devoid of those. I can't convey those very well. So as a character, you could easily just take the information and you could just say, all right, does my character believe this person? Does my character get a feel, and I'm saying this from a player of my perspective that can't do the acting role play side of things and has to do it kind of from a narrative point of perspective, but my character, does he believe him? Or do I get a sense of truthfulness or lying or betrayal?
I think the point is that when you are trying to ascertain a bit of information, explain what you're trying to ascertain, not say, hey, I want to roll an insight check for X.
Well, and here's the other thing is like, if you
refrain from that,
if you describe that and your DM doesn't pick up on it right away, then you have permission in my eyes to then ask them, hey, can I roll an insight check? Because that's what I'm trying to do. Like if your DM has like 8 million things going on, and you're descriptive enough to like, hey, I thought I asked for an insight check, but I really want an insight check.
If you got a dropped ball, pick that shit up and just say, hey,
but
here,
I do
take
think
this one.
On
Give me
all instances that we as players need to give the DM enough information in how we're doing things so that they ask us for the check.
Yeah.
Because maybe they give you the benefit of the doubt and they say, hey, like, well, roll with advantage because of the way you're looking for something.
Yeah.
Or maybe they
you might get some added benefit from it.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense why you would do that. This is the information. Don't even roll it for it.
Exactly.
There could be those situations
that
bring that up.
Or based on your passive perception or insight
You
or
would
whatever,
get this.
you would get this because of how you were looking for it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of shit going on behind that DM screen,
Yeah.
and maybe they wanted even to convey that message, but they didn't. And you say something about it as a good player, and you bring up like, okay, I want to pull more out from the DM. And they're like, oh, fuck. And, they look at their DM screen and like, oh, the motherfucker got an insight at 15. Oh, I'm just going to give you this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that happening.
Well, here's the other thing, too, is as players, I think that this is also piggybacking on insight checks and stuff like that, is taking notes.
Yeah,
When you
big
meet NPCs, if the DM gives you a description of an NPC and goes into detail with it, it's probably an important person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least take their name down.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and let's back up here for a second. It doesn't really matter if it's an important person because the DM is taking the time to explain this person in detail.
Give the DM,
DM some respect.
Yeah.
And just
same
write
respect
it down.
that
And
he tries to give you.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
She, sorry.
I feel like I take pretty decent notes. And the reason I say that is because over the last couple sessions, I take my notes on Evernote. And over the last couple sessions, none of them have saved. And I'm like, what the heck? Because I'm like writing big paragraphs on certain things, right? Because I can tell. But that helps with the immersion is I remember, so I had, I spent a lot of time in counseling, and I was at one point in time wanting to be a counselor. And there's a part of me that still kind of wants to do that. But one of the things that my therapist or counselor always used to tell me is if it isn't written, it isn't real. And as a player character, if you want to be immersed, write it down. Because all of a sudden you're not only adding the auditory, like I heard that, you're also adding a tactile experience to that, which just your brain lights up and says, oh, okay, this goes in 2 places instead of 1.
Well, here's the other thing is like, I know you got something, but real quick to build on what you're saying is like, when you take notes, you tend to write things in a language that you understand.
Oh, yeah.
So you shorten things up, you put different words, different places, maybe not the main facts, but you're almost writing it as your players experience it as opposed to the DM explaining it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it also makes a different perspective than what your other people in your group are perceiving as well. So the next time you have to encounter that thing, there's 4 different perspectives on how that event happened, which is more equivalent to real life than just somebody sharing a text block of paragraph information with you.
There's so I mentioned Aaron Sorkin earlier during the pre-funk. But he wrote a couple shows that people might know. There's one of them is The West Wing, and the other one is Newsroom. And there's a scene in Newsroom, one of the episodes, where they talk about how like there isn't 2 sides, or there isn't always 2 perspectives. Sometimes there really is 1 perspective, and sometimes there's 1,000 perspectives, and the truth is somewhere in there. And D&D is a place where you experience that again in that low risk environment that allows you to really explore those different things. And I think that kind of goes back to our original thesis in the very beginning of our podcast of like why everybody should play, because there's so many themes that we are able to actually explore on a visceral, like personal level at a very low risk cost. And you might not like walk away with something.
That's why everybody should play D&D.
Exactly. And that
in Icewind Dale.
And that what's crazy about that, and I think what's really cool about that is that you might not be actively making those connections, but your psyche and your consciousness is passively making those connections. And that's really cool because it's like studying without studying, it's you're getting the stuff done without doing it,
Well, I mean, even if you're going through some of these scenarios that you're trying to play out, via the game, but that can affect real life. That's in a lot of therapy or training, they bring in role play aspects, and they say, okay, we're gonna role play this out. Well, you know what, D&D, that's what it is. It's a fucking role playing game. Well, and in those scenarios, if you're, I mean, you might be the only person at the table doing this, but you've got a scenario you want to role play out and see how others react to it. You present that at the table, and your players and the DM will react naturally, via the characters that they're playing, but these characters are supposed to have their own personalities, and they're going to react the way that they would, and you you will gain that experience.
Well, and I'll go. This is a 30,000-foot view of what I'm trying to explain, but there's this principle called neuroplasticity, and kind of one of the things that we say is neurons that fire together, they wire together, right? So it's kind of the idea of developing habits on a cerebral level, if you will, and that's one of the huge benefits of role playing. So as a player diving into that, you're actually gaining a lot more than you think of than just the 2 to 4, maybe 6 hours of fun you're having on a whatever night it is, or during the day. I don't know what your schedule's like, but why would you not want to take the time? Intentionality is always going to give you better results than what's the non-intentionality?
Expectation?
No, just haphazardly going through it,
Sporadic.
checking out, not being present. I think that's kind of what you're saying. The 2 points that you brought up, taking notes and then role playing, they really are about being present. And if I was going to say that, like,
big time,
the player's responsibility is to be present. Like you brought up 2 points. The big point that I really want to bring up is, like, know your character.
Okay,
know what your character does.
Before we dive into know your character, I kind of want to put a bow on exactly what I was saying.
Okay.
Is that a couple of sessions ago we talked about memorable moments.
Yeah.
Memorable moments that you guys have at our table. So based upon immersion, pretty much. Based upon, you guys don't even remember the things that were happening at the table physically. All you know is a mental experience.
Yeah.
Taking notes and role-playing what your character does as opposed to asking for dice checks and just going through the motions are going to create memorable experiences for you as your character in this game.
Yeah.
It's going to make the story, it's going to make your experience of the game, and it's going to make the other people around you have more memorable experiences. It's going to build those visions in your head, those memorable experiences in your head.
Well, and to build off that, you had said something, I think it was in the first episode, like, screw it, we can just call this 20-sided dice or whatever. I don't think we can do that. Because hear me out for a second, is like, if you want to roll dice, go play Bunko or Yahtzee. And if that's your fun, that's your fun. That's great. But, like, this game is about being present. This game is about paying attention. And this game is about intentionality, which is something that I don't really see in many forms of media that we consume besides this.
And here's the thing, though, is, like, I think sometimes even us, like us three, as players, we take that for granted. Like, sometimes there's lackluster sessions, and then you'll be like, well, I didn't really get anything from that session. But then you sit back and you reflect upon your own actions, and you're like, well, I don't think I was giving it 100% anyway, so why would I even get 100% out of it?
Last session that John ran, I think I got 2 or 3 kills in that last fight. And you asked me, how do you want to do this every time? And I was like, business as usual, stab it and move on to the next thing. I think part of it was that it was late and I was super tired. But, like, okay, once again, that means I wasn't prepared to be present for the whole time. And did the rest of the table suffer? I don't even know if the rest of the table actually noticed that was going on.
I noticed.
But
my notes were extensive last year.
But, like, I suffered. Like, in hindsight, it's like I could have come up with some really cool shit. Now, does everything have to be like this crazy, like, epic thing? No, it doesn't. But
the enthusiasm and the wherewithal to know that you're present, to invest in a situation that's happening at the time to where you're putting into it just as much as somebody else is. It all goes back to D&D being about communication and relationships.
Yeah.
You apply these things in everyday life, and if you want something, if you want the best experience of something, what do you have to do? You have to invest. You have to be there.
With, and talking about investment and actually being present at a table, this is going to be maybe a touchy subject for some. What would you feel like as a player if your DM sat on his phone the whole time?
It's good. That's not a touchy
God,
subject.
that would fucking suck.
It's happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, I've been there. I know exactly what.
If your DM was on his phone the whole time, not listening to your conversations, not listening, how would that, what would that do to you as a player? You'd probably not, I'm fucking done with this game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you think the DM feels?
How do you think the DM feels? How do you think the other players at the table, when it's like, oh, hey, Andy, it's your turn. Andy, off your phone,
Yeah, and the only caveat that I will give with that is that I understand that sometimes as a player, you're like, man, it's 45 minutes between each turn. Okay, that's fine. I get that. Then sure. But what you should be doing on your phone, if you're doing anything on your phone,
Know who's before you in combat.
know who's before you in combat. And as soon as their turn starts, you need to start planning your turn.
Get back into the game.
Or spending that time researching, like, okay, going back through
Thinking
your notes.
about things. Yeah.
Go back through your notes. Figure
do
out what
some
it is.
study time.
Like, we talked about this earlier in this podcast of like, the quick culture of, make the money move on kind of thing. And
I got
it's
a
like
theory about that, and it's called the fast food theory.
Oh yeah,
But I'll
well, I
bring
mean,
that.
you're not the
We'll
only
talk
one
about-
with that, but it's the same thing for this, right? Like, okay, let's be fair. Going to the fast food theory.
Is that a real theory? I made that up in my head.
No, that's a real theory.
Oh.
It's instant gratification theory.
Yep, that's...
But the point is like, is a McDonald's burger really better than, I don't know, something you have to wait 20 minutes for them to make? No, it's not. But I don't know. I just like the only thing that I want to tell players is you need to be intentional and present. And especially when you are asking a DM. So let's say there's a 4-hour session. It probably took the DM at least 4 hours, if not more, to prep that 4-hour session. So whereas you just show up for 4 hours and drink beer and have fun and roll dice, the DM actually worked to facilitate your fun. You need to show up.
I think the average is, it's like, I don't know how I feel. It's about the
like 2 to 1.
2 to 1. Yeah. It's
it
about
might-
2 hours prep to 1 hour play.
And
I feel
totally fine. And but
that's 2 hours fucking prep for one person.
That just compounds my point.
Yeah,
Is
it does.
like your DM put in the work so that you can have fun,
You should
and
do the same.
you need to like. And I'm talking to myself sometimes too, because honestly,
Me
I
too.
think we're all talking to ourselves.
Oh, yeah,
but
we've
I think this
all
whole
three of us
conversation,
have fallen into this
this
trap.
whole conversation is the wake up call, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
us telling other players that, hey, look, your DM takes the time. If you don't feel into it, which is totally fine,
yeah,
then excuse yourself from it for that night.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, look,
Or think about what you're doing, and maybe you're not doing enough for yourself to
no,
get into
for sure.
it.
But here's the other thing too: is like sometimes you need that kickstart. Sometimes you need somebody else, a crutch. So maybe at the beginning of a session, it's not out of this realm to be like, hey, look, guys, I'm here because I know that we're a 4-person group and our DM plans for a 4-person group, and I didn't want to bail on you guys. But hey, look, I need to lean on somebody else a little bit more tonight because I got other shit going on. So
Well,
I'm
and I
kinda
feel like-
on autopilot.
I feel like you and I kind of did that last. We both talked because I think last time that we played with John, we both had gotten up way earlier than we wanted to, and it was way late. And you had said something, I had said something. And I think this is kind of the point. You dove into taking notes and being present, and that's how you stayed awake. I hit a fucking wall, and it was like, did I have fun on that? I don't know that I don't think I don't regret my time doing finishing out that session, and I wouldn't have just like been like, oh, sorry guys, I got to go to bed, But you got more out of last week's session than I did, for sure, because you decided to channel.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I think it's just like I said, it boils down to communication. And if you, as a player, if you are able to at the beginning of the session say, "Hey, look, I woke up extra early today," even if you're just telling the whole table who's aware, maybe another player will be like, "Hey, engage with you a little bit more to keep you on your toes a little bit more."
That's a good point.
Or to make the role play aspect maybe what they're thinking as in 2 instead of just 1. So like hey Pim. Like, hey, let's go check this. Let's go poke around these barrels over here. So then it engages you that maybe you're just like, I'm going through the motions, but then it engages you into the story.
Yeah.
Communication of your intentions or of your present state at the beginning of a session are also key in not letting your playgroup down.
I think everything that we're talking about really just comes down to like intentionality, being present, just, I don't know. I think, note taking, you have to pay attention. That's part of being present. I think knowing what your character does is an intentionality. Like you put some preparation into coming to the table too. And I mean, I'm super guilty of it too. And I think like, okay, like for instance, last session we advanced to level 4. I didn't roll my dice at that point. I'll roll my dice before we go, but I don't know what actually happens to a rogue when they hit level 4. I think they just get an ASI. I don't know. I was so exhausted. I just needed to freaking get home and get to bed.
Well, that's kind of what happens when you put in like. Unfortunately, what we've been doing since we all have family lives is running like 8 hours worth of D&D after working our regular jobs. You know what I mean? So like we
Especially
come
the
here,
three of us.
Yeah, so we come here, we do this podcast for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then we jump into a D&D game that lasts 4, 5, 6 hours sometimes. So when you hit that 12 o'clock, even sometimes 10:30 wall.
Oh yeah.
After being up at, and I have a 3-year-old on top of it, and John, you have little ones as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're pretty much working. This is a job at that point. So I mean, but
it's a good job though.
It's fun. It's fun, and it's a hobby that we're excited for. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, especially the experiences that I have with you guys. But we all are guilty of sometimes taking plays off, and I think you just need to sometimes refocus that energy. And another way of being a good player is knowing exactly what your player is capable of. And I know, Andy, that you're speaking of this too, is like doing some research on your character, knowing what your spells do, knowing what kind of actions that they take. And that doesn't take a lot of time. Spend 30 minutes with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you look at a player sheet, you know, and you go 4th level and you look at a player sheet, you can see, all right, what are the actions I could take? Well, think about those. Read those. You know, take them in, or your special feats that class specialties or racial specialties.
Yeah.
Or if you're a bonus action oriented, look at what they actually do, and that will increase the immersion table wide.
Well, not only
everybody does that.
Not only that, it will increase the time it takes between turns.
Yeah, if you know the rules that you're playing,
decrease the time it takes between turns, not increase.
But if you know the rules, your rules of what you're playing, it's going to eliminate the whole like, oh wait, what does that do again? And then that's going to stop somebody else from getting involved. And,
right.
And I mean, you brought up, it's almost like a job, and maybe you need to get there in order to fully understand it. And we're not talking about like brand new players or introducing brand new players, but like if you're a veteran and you've been playing this for a year, like, okay,
but
man.
Even brand new players, like once you go to the table and you got access to your character sheet at D&D Beyond, glance over it. And if you have questions, bring them to your DM's attention at that point that you have a question.
Yeah.
Message them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't talk right now.
We can't talk ever, even if we're sober.
Message them and say, hey, look, I'm unsure of how this works. Take a screenshot, send it to them, ask their opinion on it at that point. That way, when it comes up in combat, you're not taking 45 minutes to an hour trying to deduce what the ruling is on it. Or the DM's like, man, I've not even looked at that. And I've tried to reduce my use of this word during players night just because it's players night. But as a DM, like I'm not trying to be hands-on with your character sheets as much as possible because that's your job. That's the job that you have.
You should know it.
Yeah. And I would also, what you just said made my mind fire off and say, I think if you aren't really paying attention and if you aren't showing up prepared, what it really comes down to is a type of gameplay that most people don't like, which is the player party versus the DM.
Yeah.
And if you're like engaged and you did the prep and you know what's going on, and I mean, even when it comes down to like just learning your character's personality and how you're going to play it, if you do that at the table, all of a sudden it becomes collaborative and your DM is helping you tell that story and helping you actually accomplish your goals.
Well, based on what you said too, is like if you're unhappy with the way that the DM rules it, if you brought it up outside the table, then you have a cooling off period to where you can be like, okay, well, I don't or have a conversation with the DM. Like, why do you think like that? As opposed to in the in the moment.
Yep.
Then you're heated because it's not coming through the way that you perceived it as.
Well, and I would also challenge you on that is or not you, but anybody that has an issue with it is like, let it cool off, because chances are you're questioning the rule in the moment because it didn't go the way you want, not because it didn't go the way that made sense.
Or maybe the DM misread it or misunderstood it. So they're going along with it in the fly as it is. If you bring those things up that you have questions about of your character sheet beforehand, it gives an opportunity for conversation. So then when it comes up in combat or RP use or something like that, you can be like, hey, It's that thing that we talked about, DM, earlier. Remember how we ruled that?
Yeah.
And then you guys are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Or we had that conversation. So there's no drama. There's no rough spots. There's no, like you said, Andy, player versus DM at that point is still the collaborative storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is a really crappy way to play.
This game should definitely be PvE. Player versus environment.
I hate player versus... dude, I troll Facebook groups. I'm not a big... So when I post on Facebook as of Dice and Brews and stuff like that, I see myself...
Troll?
I see myself. Oh, I'm John. I'm smacking the microphone. But I see
got the new
myself
setup.
as Dice and Brews. Ben doesn't like being on Facebook. I hate it. I hate posting on Facebook. I hate it.
This
But
whole
I
thing has
troll-
made me hate social media, period.
But I troll Facebook groups like D&D groups, and I see what they're talking about because
Yeah.
that also lends to topics that we talk about
Yeah.
on this podcast. I get my information from the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all these, and I'm a part of a lot of DM groups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All these DMs always writing about players versus DMs or my monsters or blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, stop segregating yourself from your players.
Be a player
Quit
too.
it.
You are the trees and animals.
Yeah,
But,
and the
enjoy it.
I think what this game is plagued by, and I think we probably sometimes give the vibe of being this way as well, is people are taking things way too seriously.
Yeah.
And
Does that go baour preamble
don't-
ramble of enjoy the theatrics of life?
I think it all boils up into our phrase that we end each episode with is life's an adventure. Roll with it. Just let it go. You know what I mean?
it's a game.
Okay.
So we're playing pretend. We're grown men and women playing pretend.
You know what? Okay, to that point, the D&D show we all know, Critical Role, and then you got Sam, who is a halfling and doesn't.
And the best troll on the planet.
Fuck yeah! He's like, oh, what? Will that benefit the party? I'm not gonna do it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's see where it goes. He won't roll his luck feat.
Yeah.
Dude,
Because he
come
thinks
on.
it's cheating.
Well, because
No, I
he
don't
learned
think
in
he's
the,
cheating.
That's what he said.
No,
he learned in the last
oh.
campaign that his fucking OP is shit and it benefits you way too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that it's that don't take it too seriously. Like if shit doesn't go your way,
But here's the thing.
Okay, but
see where it goes.
And I'll argue with that because you're at that point you're not just out for yourself. You're a detriment to your party.
Okay, or in his case, maybe in his case, but I mean,
here's the thing:
that
is
was an
what I'm-
extreme analogy
Right.
of.
But what I'm getting to is the fact that if you spend a little bit of time familiarizing yourself with what your character can do,
yeah,
then and if you have any questions, you bring it to your DM's attention. Then all that animosity at the table in the moment in the heat it's gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing there other than telling
Just
the
the-
story now.
In the game, if you get one of those situations in the game, just accept. Okay, we don't know how it is.
Or hey,
We're gonna,
look, can I reserve and just tell a DM like, hey, like, can we revisit this later when we're not in the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but at the moment, just kind of roll with
DM
how
rolls.
it goes. Yeah,
And here's the one thing that I wanted to point out is like DMs detach from your fucking content.
Yeah.
You have to realize that your shit is thrown away, can be thrown away, needs
Yeah.
to be thrown away. Your fodder,
that's our whole thing with your
your whole fucking thing.
They went down
your
the
whole
fucking
adventure,
chasm. Where are they
your whole
going?
Adventure
Yeah.
should be able to be detached from you. Do not have any personal like attachment to anything that you do. And if you spend more time on it, realize, like Andy said earlier, and we all agreed upon in an earlier episode, that that's your fun of the game. That's what you're putting into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you get out of it.
If your party members go a different direction, do something that you don't have planned.
Roll with it.
I think I was the one in one of the earlier episodes. Jump across that chasm. What's on the other side? You gotta
But see,
figure it out. Roll with it, and just don't take it away. Don't take away your players' fun.
And I think because if your players have fun, then the DM is going to have fun.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah!
If you create memorable moments for your players, if you aid them, no, don't create them for them. If you aid them in creating memorable moments for themselves, then you're going to have fun. They're going to remember who was the DM at that table and who gave them those memorable experiences. Therefore, it equals your success as a DM, which is a facilitator of fun and adventure. And they're going to remember that dude, you did that to a T, because I have these lasting memorable experiences from the times that we played those characters in which you were the DM.
Well, going back to John and I and Tank probably don't remember that you flawlessly set up this crazy thing. We remember doing this crazy thing. And I think there's a couple of different ways
Here's the thing, though. Hold on. Like, I didn't flawlessly set it up. I placed pieces, and you interacted with those pieces.
I think the players flawlessly did it out.
I flawlessly predicted how I hoped it would play out.
Yeah.
But at any given point, could that have totally gone another direction?
Well, and I think going back to the idea of, as a DM, don't hold too tightly to your expectations. Player 2, like, let the other party members play their character. And I see this, like, we've even had to do this at our table of where it's like, okay, we're going to split up those two people because that one is constantly telling the other one how they should play their character. But maybe if we move them over here, that person will be able to play their character. And there's this, like, it goes back to expectation of, like, if you're in a power gamer table, then fine. Let's all collaborate and figure out the best way to play this turn. If that's your fun, great. But, like, okay, one of my kids that I DM for, they've got a rogue, and he is about as suboptimal as they can get because...
Does he like to shave people?
No, he doesn't.
Is his name Mip?
No.
How about Brim?
No. But Brim's not a bad name, actually. But
for an orc barbarian, no.
Yeah. No, but, like, okay, if you're running a rogue, you should probably boost up your
decks.
Your decks, right? No, he almost, like...
He's super strong.
No, he's not super strong, but he didn't do really...
12s across the board.
No, we rolled for it and he rolled really low. But I think, like, he started out with a 9 in decks.
Wow.
And he had 10s and 11s and other things like that. But, like, the whole point of his character, and it was really fun for the rest of the table to watch. And yes, there were times where it was really frustrating because it's like, why can't you just be really good? But it's like his whole point is like his character isn't really all that good at it, but he wants to be this person. And so he's going to grow into that.
He's like faking it until he makes it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so much fun to watch.
It is fun, but at the same time, and here's where...
If that's the player's fun, that's the player's fun.
That's the player's fun.
Let him have it.
But me as a player, personally...
That drive you nuts?
I believe in... Huh?
That drive you nuts?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, man, it would... But
I couldn't do that.
But here's the thing is, like, I believe in flawed characters. I believe in building my character through the progression of the campaign and through interaction of other PCs.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will not sacrifice is that if I choose a class, that's my main stat is my highest stat.
For sure.
Even if it's a 12. Like, if we're rolling and that's my highest stat, guess what? And I'm a rogue, that's going into dexterity. But everything else, dude, I'll play to my flaws. I'm a flawed character. I play to my flaws all the damn time.
Another memorable character at the table for me was One Shoe, which was your was it?
That's my Twitter handle too.
Oh, is it? Okay. Was it a halfling or was it a gnome?
I think it was a gnome.
Yeah, a gnome.
Yeah, gnome
wizard.
No wizard.
Gnome wizard, wasn't it?
Gnome wizard, divination wizard.
Yeah, and he just was about as clumsy as they came.
Fuck yeah.
And it was really cool. But, like, so this young gentleman built this character basically as a one shoe who doesn't want to live into his abilities. He wants to grow into them, kind of thing. And it really made me think, like, at a high story table, that's really cool.
He was a prime character.
One shoe was ability score not flawed, but I played him.
Yeah,
as a bumbling idiot.
And see, that's the difference. Like,
you played him as the high intelligence, low wisdom kind of thing.
Super smart, but clumsy as fuck.
But that's exactly how I play my PCs. Like, if I pick a class, I don't dump stat my main thing. I mean, at some tables it would fit. Here's the thing: is like you're trying to be an asset to your party. You're not trying to be a detriment all the time.
I think that would work really well for an experienced player to dump stat their main stat in a table with new players.
I don't think so. I think it would.
That would work really well.
I think it goes back to picking your play group, and like Andy said, an experienced RP story driven table to make those characters would be phenomenal.
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 There's the
I like
t-shirt.
that word. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. At a
We're
group,
hipping a lot of resin fumes and drinking beer here.
at a group, you're lucky we haven't lit up the hookah yet.
I know.
But at a group where you're
Next
trying
session.
to accomplish goals, I still think that you have to somewhat be an asset to that party. You have to bring something to the table.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I get that, but I'm going to challenge you is that and I'm going
If the fighter has a higher dexterity than the rogue,
okay, but hold
at
on.
what point is the fighter picking locks over the rogue?
Well, but okay, there are in real life, you have very frequently, and we've kind of talked about this. I think it was episode 4 that we talked about this. But wandering into places that you had no business being, or it's the scaling thing. You want to scale, and if that's not the game that you want to play or the group wants to play, then great. If it's a scalable game, then yeah, as a player, like make your optimal character, maybe give it some flaws. And really, this is a good point for all character or players. Know your flaws and actually play them, because a lot of times the flaws are so superfluous that it's like, I have a hard time trusting people I just met. Well, come on, man. Everybody does. And you've been through like some really traumatic experiences.
Yeah, you have some kind of connection. Here's the other thing is story building through combat. I'm going to throw that out there based upon what you're saying right now, is that it's okay to RP during combat. You know what I mean?
Okay, you should.
No, but I'm giving you permission. Like me as a forever DM, I'm giving everybody permission to RP during combat. And RP during combat doesn't necessarily mean describe actions, but interact with other PCs.
Yeah. I use my free action to yell, good luck.
RP during combat, interact with other PCs. Tell them what you're about to do. But here's the thing, is not tactically, but in story. You know what I mean? So like you're not, you know what I mean? I did it again. So you're not giving any information away.
Now
and
that
the
John's
DM's
not saying
and the
Icewind
DM's
Dale, that's the new drinking game.
The DM's not going to be like, hey, well, that's way too many actions. But if you're interacting with them and saying like, hey, Pam, I got the one on the right. You hit the one on the left. So like, you know what I mean? God damn it.
Are we literally sitting here watching you struggle getting over a fucking an auto phrase that you say?
So
you know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
So, but if you're interacting as a player, as your character, and you're shouting out probably what that character is already going to do in the first place.
Yeah.
But you're engaging with them. Mm-hmm. That's another way to tell a story, even in combat.
Yeah, but okay. My point in the,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I think that's a really important part, but I think it does go back to like what we were saying, or what I don't know who said it. I think I was one that said it. Like, know your flaw and play into it.
You would take credit for that.
Well, know your flaw and play into it. It's gonna make it more interesting. And to kind of push back on your like, be a asset to the party. Okay, sure, we need to be an asset to the party. And if you create a character that's suboptimal or even like dump stat optimal, and you've got a great way to do this, like it goes back to communicating expectations. Talk to your party, explain to them what you want to do. Explain to them the story arc that you're kind of seeing this character go through. Because being an asset to the party is not just being good at picking the lock. It's also being good at helping tell the story. And I think a lot of times people are more focused on picking the lock than they are about helping tell the story.
And I'll agree with you. And the only reason that I shy away from the dump stat in my main stat aspect is because I've seen so many people play down to the, well, that's not what my character would do.
Oh, I fucking hate that phrase.
Yeah, I've done that.
Fucking hate that
I really
phrase.
don't want an excuse.
You know what my character would do.
I don't want you... Just because, and here's the thing is, I think people need to revisit the way that stats are placed out too, because 8 is an average intelligence of a human being.
That's us.
You need
in real life right now.
You need to realize that just because you have an 8 in something does not make you a dumb as a box of rocks.
Didn't I? I'm pretty sure I put that in my Icewind Dale campaign in the very first group.
I don't even have a beer in front of me.
In the very first group set text, I said, "No dumb fucking characters. If you roll an 8, that does not mean you're stupid. Don't play fucking idiotic, please. Unless
Dude, I don't know.
unless that's the character you want to go, but make you could do that storytelling. But man, if you roll an 8,
Well,
don't fucking play stupid, please.
let's go
I'm
to,
not
like-
stupid, and I'm only got an 8 intelligence according to D&D fucking rules.
Like look at Grog from the first campaign. He had
He was the
he had a-
smartest one in the campaign.
He actually, I
Sometimes
think he had
was,
a
yeah.
5 or a 6.
six, and that he played that very well. Like
Yeah, but he had the best ideas.
He did have the best ideas.
He actually had to like dumb himself down mid sentence sometimes.
but here,
but he played
listen,
into that flaw.
right. But here's
Yeah.
the thing: is
But
like
6,
you can
okay.
make yourself sound a certain way, but portray something totally different.
Okay, but okay.
So like in Grog's case, like this dumb Goliath barbarian had a lot of great ideas portrayed in a very primitive aspect.
but
and he expressed those ideas too,
But that's what I'm saying is
but
like
through really fucking dumb words.
so through very like primal savagery. So like if he can portray these ideas, then you can play those stats too. If you have a good idea in party or like for a certain situation, and maybe you're not the smartest character, well then relay those that think of a different way to relay those ideas, but still get the same idea across.
and so in our current campaign, Icewind Dale, I said it, not John.
I'll drink.
Drink anyways, right?
My character's backstory is that he's from a different world, and one of the things that I've been
You
thinking,
don't even know that.
well, I don't know that, but here's one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately is that is common the same on this world as it is on that world? Probably not.
For DM simplicity, yes it is.
Well, probably, but even then, like maybe
Bro, I don't want to come up with another comment.
no, but
common 1 and common 2.
no, but we've all met. Well, I don't think everybody, but a lot of people. You've met a lot of people. I work in construction, so I work with
Did
a
I
lot
work
of
with like 300 women that don't speak English?
yeah. I work with
As a primary
I work with
language.
a ton of
any.
English as a second language people, and a lot of people when they role play, and maybe this is something. Hey, as a player, stop doing this. As a role player, if you are playing a quote unquote dumb character, just because you don't know the language doesn't mean you're dumb. So like I know a lot of really, really intelligent people that can't really speak English very well, but they're like hyper intelligent. They're way more intelligent than I am, and they should be paid way more money than me, in my opinion. But you get my point. Is like, okay, what if you created a character that common was a second language, and so like, I mean, just those kind of things. Like, get fun with it. It's a role playing game. Play a role and know what that role is, and be willing to put yourself out there.
But don't use it as a crutch.
No, because roles
Use
can be
it-
bucked.
use it
You're
as an
allowed to change,
asset.
right?
Use your flaws as an asset. Use your role as an asset. Get creative with the fact that, like, if you roll for stats, don't get bent out of shape that you didn't roll optimally in what you wanted to play. Get excited about the fact that you have room to grow and room to develop, and you can make this character into something that it wasn't at the beginning. In my opinion, you play a campaign. Okay, so one shots. DM says create a 12th level character. You're not expecting very much growth out of this character in a one shot.
No.
But when you go to a campaign, and this is why all campaigns start at level 1, in my opinion, is because you are looking for the growth of characters. So start at level 1, start flawed, start again.
Squishy.
You know what I mean? You're so vulnerable at level 1. And then as you grow, let the campaign dictate what you're doing. Don't plan your character 1 to 20. Let the individual instances plan your character or aid in the ability to level up your character. I was given in one campaign that me and John are a part of. This is like the only campaign that Andy's not a part of with us. But I'm a barbarian, Path of the Ancestry, barbarian, and I was given a flame tongue greatsword.
That's really
that's
like
a
that thing.
Very fucking. Like, I didn't choose that. Somebody just gave it to me.
Level 4?
Somebody gave it to me. But here's the thing: is like that weapon dictates. Like, hey, look, I'm not a barbarian.
You were
I'm
go-
going to take a fighter now. I'm going to go into fighter now.
Yeah, you were gonna go full barbarian, and you got a flame tongue greatsword, and you're like, oh, nope.
Yeah, no.
New class.
Yeah.
I allowed it to change me, not just based on the weapon, but I was bored with the barbarian path. Like straight barbarian is very dull, in my opinion. It's very lackluster. There's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
After you get that, it's just not a lot.
After level 1 when you get rage.
Yeah, it's just the same cookie cutter aspect. So I was like, okay, now I got this flame tongue greatsword. Now let's capitalize on this a little bit. So now,
okay, go back to we keep doing this, but referencing Critical Role. What
you
made
keep doing this?
No,
Yeah.
I did one, you did one, Andy.
Okay, fair.
And now I'm doing a third. But no, you did one too. You
I
brought
don't
up Grog.
have one. Who?
You brought up Grog.
No,
No,
I brought up
I
Grog.
did not do that.
I brought up Grog.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
my
anyways.
one.
Well, we're gonna go back to Grog. What made him great? The fact that he raged and went in, or that he had a talking sword and he fucking spoke with it,
his kick-ass voice.
or he had
like to rage.
a belt of dwarven kind that he grew a beard, and that was like a whole fucking thing. I'm gonna agree with you. Barbarians are kind of boring.
Well, they
Maybe you need some magic items to spice them up.
hold on.
I just think you need
I
to
don't think they are boring. I think what it does is it means that you have freed up your mind to actually role play. So if you're going to show up and you're going to be a barbarian and you want to tell me that being a barbarian is boring, how are you going to make it fun?
So here's the thing, though, dude. Is my character in this campaign is anything but boring.
Oh yeah, no, your character.
Wise, dude.
Okay, but then
I'm killing it on the RP aspect. I'm
Okay,
talking
then-
about combat wise.
Okay, but then maybe you're in a so one of the things that my guys told me is that there's maybe too much combat, and they kind of wanted a little bit more of the RP side. Okay, great. So at that point in time, it's like, does it really matter if you're bad in combat? Not really, because now you're doing it's a different game.
No, I agree with you. But and when I reference that barbarians are boring, that's just my personal experience.
Yeah,
This is what
yeah.
I'm going through right now because
Never played one, so I don't know.
I definitely feel like it's see object, hit object, kill object,
Hack and slash.
And honestly, like to me, that's not very. If I don't have multiple choices in a situation,
Well, you're a fucking
it's
bard
not
in
fun.
real life, so
Well, you know what I mean.
You keep saying that. I don't know that Ben is a bard.
yeah. Wait till you see him in a party.
Okay, that might be a party, but look around us right now. I think he's an artificer. Yeah.
Like 1 or 2 levels in artificer, but no, you get you get
my toes.
you take off this fucking the
You get rid of this
cover of
room.
Ben that you see right here. Ben's a fucking bard, bro.
Okay. Anyway,
Watch me shed my morning clothes. The Bruce Almighty.
Though you brought up Andy. You brought up a topic, a phrase a little bit ago about playing to your weakness, and we both keep referencing this. Stormlight Archives.
Mhm.
One of
your favorite character,
Maybe-
Dalinar Colin.
Maybe
Take a
that
drink.
should be the drink. The drink again.
in I think I mean he's
need
mentioned
another
this in all the books so far, but Kaladin I think Kaladin's probably the main character.
Have you finished book 4 yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And
I haven't even started the prologue.
But Kaladin he refers to a time when he was first joining the army that one of his leaders says you need to take your biggest weakness and make it an asset.
Mhm.
Make your biggest weakness a strength.
Yeah.
And that led to some serious shit in the book, but in the D&D, like if you take your biggest weakness, your dump stat, and make that your strength. And I think you've done that because Gino, your barbarian, I'm pretty sure his dump stat's probably charisma,
Yeah, for sure.
but I think charisma is your character's biggest strength.
Yeah,
Well, okay,
probably.
but here's where I go as a player is okay. You need to. We're probably getting to a point where we need to wrap this up, but
I think you say that every episode.
well, that's fine.
Every single
And
day.
just like you say, every episode is something to the effect of what's on tap. But you
No,
haven't done that the last.
every episode is why everybody should play
Oh,
D&D.
that and Icewind Dale. You're right. Anyway,
No, Icewind
You know
Dale's
what I
for
mean?
too.
yeah, you know what I mean. No, but I think you need to understand what you're trying to accomplish. And at the end of the day, rule of cool, having fun, right? All those kind of things. And as a player, I think be present, put in the work, understand what you're doing, and have a good attitude. We talked about it, I think it was a couple episodes ago, about like, fudging dice and the humility aspect of it. Like sometimes asking for help or having somebody else come in and backfill what you're a weakness at actually does provide some of the best life experience. And the reason I keep harping on this like stat thing is because I don't think you should worry about that all that much. I think if you're coming to play this game, you need to understand, okay, are you playing a heavy like crunch rules kind of thing, or are you going on this like storytelling adventure? And if you are going on this storytelling adventure, prepare for that. It comes down to prepare. Be ready for whatever that brings you. And if that means that you are, weird thing, I mean, we're of Dice and Brews, but if you notice that after like 2 or 3 beers, you've checked out at the table, guess what? You need
Probably
to stop.
only have one.
Yeah.
Yep. Cut that back next time.
Yeah.
So here's the thing is bringing up stats and it may be me redirecting course, but what I thought about is like people don't need to know what you're good at. People don't, or your other players at your table don't need to know what you're good at, what your stats are.
Yeah.
People don't need to know what class you are, to be honest with you.
No.
But and dice rule all, you know what I mean, for players anyway. So your checks.
It doesn't matter if you have a plus 12 in something, if you roll a 1.
Minus, you know, if you're rolling well, if your dice are on fire, nobody needs to know what you're good at, what you're bad at. You know, even the best rogues roll terrible with a plus on their fucking dexterity checks.
No, the best rogues can't get under 10.
Only if you're on a high level.
Yeah. How often has that happened for you, John?
A high level?
I've never got there.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, I think Icewind Dale might be
the first time John's ever experienced a rogue that gets that particular issue.
Maybe. I don't know.
And he's not even playing it.
You know,
He's out to kill a rogue now.
Right, Pin's dead. I think to sum up a lot of the aspects that we're talking about, I said this in the text to you, Ben, when we were discussing this topic as a subject matter for our episode. I said a player should put in as much work as a DM does to DMing. And maybe not as much time wise, but I think if you expect your DM to spend hours creating a world, creating encounters, and creating stories and content and plot hooks, at least put in the time to know your character, know what you can do, and at least come up with a, backstory personality that you're going to convey at the table. And at the table, be engaged, take some notes, and listen.
Yeah, and there's things what I would say is everything that you just said plays into it. I would take the time aspect out of it and say, hey, maybe you don't need to put in the same time, but you need to show up and respect the time that's been put into it. And you do that by doing all the things that you just said.
Yeah, time was an analogy word.
Totally get that. But it is a, hey, people have taken the time out of their busy schedules to do this stuff. And yes, they enjoy it. And DMs, you have to admit that. Yeah. Like, you're working hard because this is something you like doing.
As a player, put in.
Make it enjoyable for them too.
And here's the thing: is like it all goes back to it's kind of like a poker game. If there's 5 players at the table in a poker game, and you ante up as a DM, and you got a small blind next to you, you're only going to be excited if you have a good hand, if that pot builds.
Yeah.
So if that pot is building, you're only going to be more excited when you win that pot if it's a huge pot. If you got just your buy-ins and then everybody just shows up all the time, like even if you win at the end of the night, even if you take all the money home, it was a daunting experience getting there.
Yeah, drama.
It was slow. It was tedious. And what this boils down to is like if the DM is the dealer and everybody and all the players at the table are your bettors, feed more. Bet your hand. Even if you don't have the hot hand, even if you don't have like pocket aces or whatever, feed into it.
Yeah.
Have people call your bluffs.
Well, and
you can call your own bluffs. And the only people that are going to tell you that you're lying are the dice.
Yeah, and what makes this better is like money's not on the line. So you should do it even more.
That was just the analogy. Yeah. Like you have nothing to lose here. You know what I mean? Like throw in, because the more you throw in, the more memorable experiences you're going to create for that whole table.
Well,
so that drama and suspense that builds as the hand grows, as the bets are being called, as everybody's throwing in their individual assets to the table. And at the end of the day, the best part about it is you all split the pot evenly.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So like there's no money's lost. There's no, but all that stuff that you throw thrown in at during the course of your 4-hour, 5-hour, 2-hour session is divided equally. So would you rather it be a pile of 500 or a pile of 25? Like, just the more you put in, the more you're getting out of it. That's the basis of this whole thing. Is if as a player you throw your heart and soul into this game, I guarantee you're going to feed.
Oh yeah, you're going to suck in all the other players at the table.
And not only that, if you get the DM is going to realize that. The DM is going to see you're doing that, and the DM is going to feed you. Yeah. And you're just going to keep bouncing off each other and feed. And the power of, like you guys were saying earlier, attitude. You know what I mean? If you bring a positive attitude to the game table, just like if you bring a positive attitude to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what's going on in your life, if you bring positive atmosphere to that, you're going to get positivity out of it. If you bring negative and condescending attitude to anything that you get, all you're going to get is met with resistance and force. Well, that's just what happens all the time.
And I'm gonna take that just one more step, and I'm gonna say there's that saying that says, just show up, right? Well, showing up is part of being present. It's not just about being physically there in anything you do. You don't have to be good at it. But like, this goes to something, okay, if everybody, unfortunately, and I always tend to go dark like this, and I'm sorry, I think it's maybe just the way my mind works.
Morbid fuck.
I know, I'm a morbid fuck. But the reality is we all go to funerals. Like we've all been, we've all been to a funeral.
Fuck.
Yeah, we've all been to a funeral. But the point is like you were invited to be at that funeral, be there. If they're singing a song, sing with it. If people are staying afterwards and discussing this person's life, be there. You're being part of a moment. It's the same thing for D&D. You are being part of a moment. Show up. Just showing up and being physically there is not good enough. When we're saying show up, that means be present. And I think that's just life in general. Is so many times there's that movie, Adam Sandler movie, I think it's called Click, where he gets that remote that allows him to like fast forward through things and pause things. He's not present, and that's the whole point. Is he's being present to the pain, being present to the joy, being present to all these different things. This is the player side of it. Is be present to the story that the DM is helping you tell.
Well, not only that, also to add to that, like when you are present, all those pain and suffering moments that you're equating to like lead to the payoff. When the payoff comes, the payoff is tenfold at that point because you're so exhausted from everything else that's taken place that once you finally get that end game, you're like, man, this is so much more rewarding than just what it could have been if I was just physically here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
100%. Your
character has investment now. Your person, your journey throughout this game, even if your payoff is at level 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if your character dies, like just knowing that when a PC dies, like this is a whole nother fucking avenue that we could go down. Like when a PC dies, like what would you rather if the other characters stood around your PC's funeral, or not your PC, I'm sorry, your character's funeral or player character, yeah.
PC.
What would they say? Would they say that would they have a personality, or would they have something to go on, or would they he was there and he swung an axe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
what was his name?
If you thought about it like that, the eulogy at your funeral, of your PC's funeral, what would they say? And then take that into a mindset of like when you approach a game, you want to leave these people, DM included, with a memorable experience of your own PC. So just like the DM tries to convey a memorable experience for everybody to experience, as the PC, you should be trying to etch in other PCs and the DM's brain a memorable experience of your PC.
Yeah, for sure. And players, get involved. Be there. Listen, look, watch, write. Do what you need to do. Do what the DM does. Be present.
I don't know. You can't do what the DM does.
I'm talking, not actually.
Put in the effort.
Put in the effort. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I think it all boils down to you only get what you put in.
Yeah.
Just like everything. Like in your job, in your relationships, in your D&D group, in your
be a part of the world.
Yeah.
You can create the world as much as the DM can.
You can, and you can influence. You can influence other PCs. You can influence the DM. You can influence everything. You can do just as much work as a DM does by giving what you want to get out.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that's to sum it up right there.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Cool. So until next time, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
We're also on YouTube
Dice
now.
and Brews. We're on YouTube now.
Oh, of Dice and Brews.
And remember, life's an adventure. Roll with it.